All right, hey everybody. Once you get over 200 episodes and it's quarantine, topics are a little more sparse, so we're just going to make the best of it. We're here to talk about arts and artists, whatever.
I thought we were talking about
Sparks Whitty, and this is Ryan Eliopoulos. I'm joined with Brandon McClure.
Hi.
And Ben Magnet.
Let's get drunk.
It doesn't feel the same when it's not really alcohol, though. I'm going to be honest.
No, baby, this is cream soda. I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, that is strong. Oh, damn.
Is your limerita strong?
Yeah,
Ben?
no, I'm actually drinking a BT Dubs. If you're under 21, don't drink. But
hey, if you're like in France, you can drink when you're like 9. So like,
well, by accordance to the laws of the United States of America,
true,
we're not being sponsored by Coatwater Spirits, but this is this is good.
You guys remember that video that was going around on Twitter about the podcaster who found out that his co-host was just drinking Kool-Aid?
Yes.
Like a 2-liter thing of Kool-Aid?
Yes, that was so funny.
Yeah, the 2 beers in a can.
You drink this whole thing is full of Kool-Aid.
Listen,
This whole time?
To be fair, I just bought a thing of Kool-Aid to mix with my water, and it tastes so good. I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
It's like that other viral video that's been going around. I know you shared about it this week, but I'd seen it a while ago too, where it's like, oh, I think about this every day, and it's the guy who's running the game stream, and someone asks him, what's in your fridge? And he's like, you want to know?
Oh.
You really want to know? And the fridge is going to cover the entire
It's a fake fridge. It was never real, and his whole stream for like a year never knew. It's just like
That's the best.
classic.
That was really good. I saw that. Okay, so who wants to get into the week? I got a lot, so I don't want to go first.
I'll go first because I probably did the least.
I was gonna say I thought I did the least, but okay.
Let me get my 2 traditional Sony first party games out of the way. I played some more Ghost of Tsushima. Everyone loves that game, I guess, except for me, and I don't feel bad about it because I don't have to love everything. I think it's good. I've played so many open world games, and it just feels like one that's like 10 years old. It just looks better than a 10-year-old game. So like, I'll get back to it, I think. But it's just not grabbing me the way I really wanted it to. So I went back and I've finished The Last of Us 2. I'm very conflicted on this game. I've listened to, no joke, probably like a dozen hours of spoiler cast trying to wrap my head around the game because it's very divisive for various reasons. You've started it. I hope you finish it. Because
yeah, I will.
Okay, good. Because
it might take a long time, depending.
It's gonna take you like 6 years to finish it. Yes, but
Hey, Mag.
Hello, Mag.
He was watching us play Avengers earlier. Mag, you're the best. Thank you for being a friend. I appreciate you. Yeah, man. The more I see people talk about it, the more I lessen my feelings on it in like anger and just like I'm very interested in the choices they make throughout this game. Because they want you to feel a certain way, and I just don't know why. Mm-hmm. I don't feel the message like I felt in the message of the first game. And maybe that's just gonna take another like playthrough. Because I'll tell you what, the gameplay is so good. Now that I got New Game Plus and I have everything unlocked, I kind of want to play that game because like the sandbox stuff that you can do in the game is still super fun. There's sections where you can pit like humans versus like zombies, and that stuff like the AI is just so good and that's so fun. And I just want to do that. I almost wish there were combat challenges. We were just talking about that in the Avengers game. It's a hell of a game. It truly is like, it's so beautiful. And the little you've seen, you can see just how stunning and like really an achievement it is.
I can't tell you how mad I was that I discovered photo mode after I left the snow. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch.
It is. It's honestly, it's probably the best looking regular like PS4 game. Like we got the consoles coming up soon, the new ones.
Yeah, I don't think anything on the PS4 is going to look better than Last of Us Part 2.
Like the fidelity and like there's something about there's the what's it called, the uncanny valley, right? And it's always with eyes. Like when something gets to be too real, but it's not real enough. It's like, oh, it kind of looks weird. This game passes it, and it's like, yo, these people look real. Like especially in the eyes. Like you've met Abby. She has like really dark eyes. She has piercing eyes, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is almost too real for me. And that's why the emotions and the violence work so well, because it is almost like a movie. Like it is so fully realized, and the transitions from gameplay. You've played Uncharted, Brandon. You know, like from like gameplay to cutscene back to gameplay, it's so seamless. There's no loading, so it feels just like a narrative adventure. It's a tremendous game. I'm really conflicted about the choices they made in the game. Sure. That being said, like people should play it just for the technical achievement of it. there is almost nothing replicated in that game. Like in terms of like assets, like everything is handcrafted. Like listening to a podcast about it yesterday. Crunch. You guys know about crunch in video games. Like people work long hours for overtime, not getting paid, stuff like that. And Last of Us is a huge proponent of that, unfortunately. And Naughty Dogs have addressed it, and they want to get better about it. But like at the same time, a lot of these people are like, I put my heart and soul into this game because
we should say that Naughty Dogs acknowledged it,
yes,
not addressed it.
Yes. It's a gross and tricky thing in the industry, but these people have such a passion and dedication to this game. Like there are things in this game that I will never discover that somebody spent like a year working on. Like you can shoot sandbags in that game, and the sand will come out of there where the bullet hole is every single time. And I never once shot a sandbag. And like it's just stuff like that. I'm like, man, like the dedication that people put into these games is like it's so unlike any other industry, and it's really sad they don't get compensated for it. So at the same time, I'm like, man, this game's incredible, and I love it on a gameplay perspective. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to be done with it. I will say, I never wanted a sequel after the first Last of Us, and they announced one. I'm like, I don't know how they can do it. I do think they did pull it off. Now that this is a franchise, I am very, very excited where the future is, because I think most people are in agreement about the ending and where it can go. So that's kind of exciting. Besides that, I read some comic books. Empire's still going strong. Did I read any DC books this week? Deceased Dead Planet. That book's still really cool, guys. I hope you guys are reading that book. That book's great.
I'm unfortunately trade waiting because I'm picking up a million other books.
That's okay, and most of them are X-Men, and I love it, and I appreciate it.
I think I couldn't find
talk
it.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when I was at the store, it wasn't a new brand. Did it come out this week or no?
This week.
Yeah, it wasn't on the rack.
Yes, it was. Ben.
Yeah.
It's
you were just in there.
Yeah, but again, Ben, you gotta remember
they had the two. We got them.
No, the thing is, Ben, remember they come out on Tuesdays, so
that's right.
like by the time we got there, most of that shelf was gone.
Our shop isn't open on Tuesdays.
What? Really?
Our shop's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
I did not know that. Damn.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay, you're right. No, you're right. You just missed it, I guess.
I think you just missed them because like you had to really look. The print on them was small on both variants.
Okay.
That were there, but they were there on the shelf. Yeah. There were like 6 of each variant.
I was gonna trade away from that one anyways. It's like what, 6-issue mini?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just trade away.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Empire's still kicking ass, man. And that X-Men Empire book is like just the most fun book. Like outside of everything, just reading that book, it's just so fun because it's just like they keep upping the ante on stupidity and fun. Where it's just like it's just a lot of fun. And Empire's so good. And the ending of Empire 4 is kind of like, I guess, breaking the internet or whatever. But like it's a really, really awesome moment in Marvel Comics. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it yet. But in terms for representation and stuff, like it's really cool that they're putting front and center. Again, this prominently gay character, and they're making a statement about something that's just awesome. It's the thing I was talking about with Sparks. And like, it would be nice to see this in mainstream comics, and they are really doing it. Now, if they stick with Hulkling being a major character in the future, we'll see, because we know how both companies handle this kind of stuff. Like North Star had a huge wedding like 10 years ago. Nobody talks about North Star, right? So I'm really curious if this is a marketing ploy or an actual like thing that like, hey, we're gonna do this and continue to do this stuff.
It could be that in this case, like the writer is very interested in doing this, but he's not interested in carrying the story. Someone else would have to pick up the torch. Maybe nobody else will, or Marvel won't let them. Like, it could be that.
Yes, exactly. It could very much be a writer thing that the studio's like, you can do it in here, but we don't really care.
We got it's Al Ewing.
Yes,
doing Empire.
He's
also doing Guardians.
Yes. So. Also, I will give credit. Dan Slott is the co-writer of this book, and the Fantastic Four are heavily involved, and all that stuff's really good. I'm not reading the regular book, but with him and Al Ewing co-writing, their mix together works well because he has a good voice for the Fantastic Four. I'm not going to lie there. I just don't like his story that he's doing. But yeah, that's I'm really enjoying comics right now, man. It feels good. X-Men's kicking ass. The big Marvel books kicking ass. Wonder Woman's awesome. Like I picked up that first issue.
I forgot that the new team was on this week. I forgot to pick it up.
Yeah, it's Mikhail Janin from Batman, and then Mariko Tamaki from a bunch of Marvel stuff.
Not this week, but last week.
Last week. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be picking up like one of the Trinity books again. We'll see how long she sticks on the book. I hope for a while. Besides that, I did a lot of stuff with Sparks, and I'll let him talk about that when we get to it. Oh, downright annoyed. I didn't forget. Sorry, Brandon, you can't remind me. I watched a movie called Red Belt, which is a 2008 David Mamet mixed martial arts drama. It's okay. it's okay. I expected a lot more from David Mamet, who is a like world-renowned playwright and screenwriter. Like that dude knows how to write dialogue like mwah! And this movie is kind of clunky. Chiwetel Ejiofor is a star. He's really cool.
Sometimes you just need to get groceries.
Sometimes you just need to get groceries. Yeah.
The link to the downright annoyed video is in the description below.
Thank you.
You also read another book. You also read another book that I saw you tweeting about. So I want to know if you want to talk about it. Legend of the Dark Knights.
I honestly forgot all about it. It's the one tie-in where I was like, people are talking about it, and I checked it out, and
I didn't read it because our store didn't have it.
I don't think it's a good comic. I don't think it's a good comic, not just for the spoilers for now, like 2 or 3 weeks now for the Dr. Batman Manhattan character, but it goes into full details about that character. Also, a couple of the other new Dark Knights, where 2 years ago when the Dark Knights were first introduced, I'm like, cool, a multiverse of evil Batman, that's cool. Now that we're at a point where I've seen literally every single type of evil Batman you possibly can fathom, even cool like dinosaur ones. The ones that they chose for this one, I don't think the stories work. There's the Robin King one. I think his name's the Robin King. It's a bad comic. It's a bad comic. It's not good. And I'm just like, I love Scott Snyder, but I'm just like, I'm not digging this. I'm just not digging it. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of people are. That's great. I'm not.
May I bounce in?
Please.
The worst I have ever felt. So I'm caught up, but I kind of like committed to not saying anything about it. But
if you like it, that's okay.
Well, it's not so much that. It's so much as the worst I felt so far is it's okay. I've never felt like I've read something that was bad.
Yeah.
I truthfully like the Robin King issue. The things that I were disappointed in were how short some of the other ones were that I was interested in, such as D-Rex or B-Rex, sorry. That was so short, and we don't get a sense of what that character is or how he came to be.
Was that the Warren Ellis one that got cut?
That was supposed to be the Warren Ellis one, but it's Marguerite Scott now.
Yeah, I can forgive that one for getting rid of the original one.
And then there was the Batman who put himself into a bunch of machines, and that looked awesome, but we don't get anything with it. So for me, I've just kind of felt like the potential isn't necessarily there as it was for the last time we saw something like this, which was the one-shots where we got more expanded of what these things were.
You're diluting the brand.
I think it's also hurt by the fact that like the concept was very simple, and because it was like the first time with the first Dark Knights, because it was what if Batman underwent circumstances that made him every other version of the Justice League members, but evil.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty simple template to build from, but you're able to actually work on just what the character is because you don't have to explain a lot about like how they work necessarily, right? And now these new Batmen are all like, what looks cool? And how do we justify it looking cool?
There's literally a splash page, and I put it on Twitter. It's every type of evil Batman that they haven't done yet. It's on a big splash page of just like literally like a dozen different ones, and I'm like, that's cool, I guess.
That's the Batman Manhattan. That's the Batman Manhattan.
Yes, the Bruce Wayne Dr. Manhattan in the multiverse. Again, that's an image I'd never wanted to see in my life.
Here's the thing. Can I real quickly, because I'm not against that. I'm not against that. I want to be clear. I've never been against DC using Watchmen.
No. Yeah.
But that went about in the worst possible way. So for me, I always just kind of assumed like, oh, somewhere in the multiverse there was a Bruce Wayne who became Dr. Manhattan. Okay, in an infinite amount of multiverses, I can see that possibly happening.
But it wasn't that.
It
was the Batman who laughs, who turned the machine on. Did he also make the machine?
No, so it was a Bruce Wayne who found the button because the button ended up not being anything in our main timeline.
Yeah.
So the Doomsday Clock button, the Watchmen button, he found it and he decided to make the machine, and then the Batman who laughs convinced him to go into the machine and become Dr. Manhattan. I'm just like, that's not interesting. That's just not the interesting way to do that.
That's what I mean. And again, like it.
Hi, K. Titus.
Hi, Titus.
Hi, K. Titus. Sorry.
My anger rant. I didn't. I'm sorry. It's like I can get over the Rorschach book because that's trying to do something different. I've eased up on that. That's trying not to do what this is. This was what I feared. It's not even using Dr. Manhattan in an interesting way. It's putting an evil Joker Batman's brain in a Bruce Wayne Dr. Manhattan's body from a dark multiverse. When I was 12, that sounded dope. I'm not 12 anymore.
Do you know what I think also just makes the whole thing, again, hadn't read it, but just what you described, the whole thing kind of presents itself as way shittier to me when we were so hyped about how well they were going to do DC Rebirth. And while we all liked Doomsday Clock, the overall effect of connecting those things on the DC universe ultimately came to crap.
Yeah.
And nothing. And having that be the case, and then them still trying to put things like this out when we didn't even get what we already were hoping for, is like, please just leave it alone. You got me hyped. You disappointed me. I'm done.
And what worries me more is, unlike Jonathan Hickman, after he did all his Fantastic Four, Avengers, Secret Wars, and then he left after he destroyed the universe, Scott Snyder is also doing the same thing. He's like, hey, I'm not going to tackle big books after I do this. But the direction the DC Universe is going with this is not the DC Universe I want. And then Scott Snyder's just going to walk away from it so other people can tackle it and do worse things possibly with it. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan. I'm going to stick with my Jimmy Olsen side books and my Wonder Woman books. But like, I'm kind of over Rebirth, I think I might say.
I think DC is over. I think DC is over Rebirth also.
Yeah.
No,
I think DC never actually did Rebirth. Like, we had the opening of it, and then nothing ever actually came from it.
The first year I was loving it.
The first year is incredible.
Yeah.
I think they just, Dan Didio even talked about it at an interview once. He was like, we didn't know where to go after we started it. We just had no plan.
You don't need a plan. Just let people tell stories.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, no. You did need a plan because you introduced a very
Dr.
basic
Manhattan
concept at the beginning, which was, how did we forget Wally West?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That was the opening. How did we forget Wally West? How do we tie this into bringing back legacy characters we don't have?
Now
how do we tell that story in a
Dr.
nice, unique
Manhattan.
way? And that's what happened. And I'm
like, he's on the cover of Death Metal 3, and I'm just like,
He's on the cover of Speed Metal.
Anyway,
Speed
Ben,
Metal,
how was your week?
Yeah, that's it for me. Yeah, sorry.
So my week was pretty small, not a whole lot of things. Film wise, I finally watched Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit. I wasn't able to see that in theaters. That movie is phenomenal. It's funny.
Great.
I love Taika Waititi as Adolf Hitler. I think he's hilarious in that role.
That kid is so good.
The kid is good. Both kids are really, really good at that film. Highly recommend watching it. It is phenomenal. Another film that I watched this week that Fenny hasn't seen and I only seen parts of, so now I could say I saw the whole entire thing, is Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
You hadn't seen it before.
I love it.
I've seen bits of it, and I have the entire soundtrack on my phone.
That is weird that it took you this long.
I know, it really is. I kind of hate myself for doing that.
I think I could recite almost every single song, like word for word. You have to start the song because it's been a while, but like I think I know every single song.
I want to start singing Kickapoo, but I can't because that's our first half.
A long ass time ago in a town called Kickapoo. Yeah,
and that's our topic today.
A long time ago in a town called Kickapoo.
We talked about doing a sequel, and then they never could do it because they didn't make enough money.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie itself is hilarious. I always forget that Dave Grohl is Satan in that movie.
Ben Stiller, Tim Robbins. Oh, it's so good.
He's also the drummer in the band in Tenacious D too. So
even I don't know.
Mag says even the Zanzibar song.
Hyperbolic. I watched that movie 1,000 times when I was younger.
It's okay. It's okay. Once upon a time, I could recite the entire movie, The Producers, from the beginning to the end.
That's a good one.
Give me my blue blanket.
yeah. So besides the movies, video game wise, I've only been playing Animal Crossing. I tried I got to the final level in Panzer Paladin.
Liar! You're a liar. You played
Dead by Daylight. Yeah, that's right.
Times.
Dead by Day. Oh yeah, also not just Dead by Daylight, because for a very brief moment in time, it was an awesome 45 minutes to an hour. Myself, Ryan, and my brother, all three of us played Bloodborne together.
I was gonna say I saw you playing Bloodborne the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing Bloodborne with my brother.
Yeah. It wasn't as long as I possibly wanted. Also because like the game crashed halfway through, or
Yeah,
like
it
5 minutes after.
Hate to see it.
But we had stuff to after, so I didn't want to get too invested anyway. But yeah, man, that game's so fun.
Yeah, I was actually playing with my brother a little bit today. But in Animal Crossing, you could catch bugs, catch fish and stuff like that. But the cool thing is you could put them in a museum to show them off. So of course, Fanny and I, we share a Switch, and I live on the same island that she does. And since she's played a whole lot more Animal Crossing than I have, 99% of the animals and fish in that museum have her name on it. It says, hey, it'll tell you who donated the said animal or thing or whatever. So now I started this whole time of me being in quarantine, playing Animal Crossing a whole lot more. It's like, I want to put something in a museum. So the other night, I spent 3 goddamn hours hunting for a rare scarebeetle that only pops up in Animal Crossing between the hours of midnight and 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I found the damn thing at 3 o'clock in the morning, woke Fanny up to show her that I caught it, put it in the museum, and went the frack to bed.
Yeah, that game, during quarantine when I didn't have a job, like I said before, that game kept me on a schedule. Because certain days things happen, I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing today.
No, now every Sunday I wake up because Fanny wakes me up on Sunday. He's like, babe, it's turnip day. You got to buy your turnips.
Stock exchange, baby. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I actually made some money on the stock exchange.
Sounds like The Sims.
God, it is.
Cuter,
it's Nintendo version of The Sims.
It's a cuter, simplified Sims. It's really great.
Yeah.
It's super relaxing.
Yeah. But in good news, I finally got my COVID-19 results back. Guess who's negative, baby?
Me?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's you.
Yeah. So
now you got to get tested this week and get your results next week, and then we'll know if you're clean this week.
Oh.
Stag.
Mag says Gold Stag is a challenge.
I bet it is. But yeah, so I got my results back, and I went to Frankenstein's on Saturday. I actually went in there to go and get Yu-Gi-Oh cards for my Cyber Dragon deck. But did I walk out with just Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Of course I didn't. I also walked out with a crap ton of comic books, which I will show you now. One of those being...
For the audio listeners.
For the audio listeners, and also for those watching, I bought all of Wolverine. Number 1, 2, and 3, so I'm caught up. And once I get to the store, I'm going to put Wolverine on my pull list. I also totally missed to buy this at the store when I went earlier this week, but I also got Empire X-Men number 2. And also, thankfully, Frankenstein's had 2 trades that I've been looking for, which is Immortal Hulk Volume 2 and Donny Cates Venom Volume 2. So I finally got those. I've been looking for those forever. I have them. I'm going to read them. And I was really happy when I found them. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to look through the rest of Frankenstein. I found them everything in like less than an hour. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to try and find one more thing. And if they don't have it, I'm just going to go home. They didn't have the thing I wanted.
That game that you tweeted about.
Yeah, Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. They didn't have it.
How busy was it?
Not very. When I got, because they're still doing the increment, like letting people. They don't let everyone just crowd the door. They're still doing the one-way aisles. They're straight up saying there's announcements all over the place saying like you have to wear a mask. If you're not wearing a mask, you're getting kicked out if we catch you.
Good.
I mean, of course, some people who are taking a quick swig of a soda or whatever, it's like, okay, that's fine. But if they're walking around blatantly not wearing a mask, security will come up to them and be like, hey, where's your mask? And it's like, oh, well, right before you walk in, there's like a megaphone on repeat that's saying, by entering this building, you are agreeing to wear a mask that covers both your face and your mouth.
City Walk was much the same.
When we went on this made me think of it. When we went on our road trip to the cabin, both ways, we stopped at this Walmart. It's a big Walmart parking lot. Just to use the restrooms because they were the cleanest restrooms around. Mm-hmm. That's true. But it's one of those where it has like big overhangs of shade and everything because this was out in the desert. Mm-hmm. And every 10 minutes, they have music playing, but then 10 minutes, it gets interrupted by the same guy doing an announcement that's like, welcome to Walmart. Please remember to wear your mask and keep 6 feet apart from each other. I'm like, man, this is the opening of the Apocalypse movie right here. It's just walking through the Walmart parking lot and hearing the like pandemic infomercial being played. Like it feels like when that infomercial is playing on WALL-E at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
When everybody's already left Earth, but they're still playing the video loop of like, it's going to be great out in space.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I mean, Frankenstein's itself was fine. I mean, the new building, the AC, it was pretty hot during the day. I got inside around like 2:00, had no problems finding a parking spot. It was nice and AC, air conditioned, so it was nice and cool. I tried to keep social distancing. Like, of course, when you're like in these small booths looking, sometimes people are crowded in, but you do hear on the intercom and the people running said booths who are like, "Hey guys, I know you want to look, but we gotta keep social distancing, so try and space each other out, okay?" And then people are like, "Oh shit, sorry," and they'll like space out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I don't think I'll go to Frankensons for a while. Is It's just like the booths are too small. You have to be in someone's bubble to some extent in order to get in there and do anything, and that's a lot of stress and effort.
We're lucky that our comic store generally isn't super packed when we go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, but actually, I got lucky because at Frankensons, when I bought some of my books, the guys, when I bought Wolverine #1, since it was on retail for $7.99, the guy who sold it to me was like, I'll just sell it to you for $5. It's been out for a while. I got a bunch of these variant covers, so you know what, $5 is yours. I'm like, hey, thanks, man, I appreciate it.
Nice.
But yeah, that was pretty much my week.
Okie dokie. I finished Tower of God.
Yes.
That's an anime.
Yes. That was good. I'm more interested in season 2. Here's the thing. It is a interesting world with an interesting story going on that you can't really understand in the first season. And like, it's interesting, but even by the end of the first season, you're still kind of trying to grasp what's really happening in the story. And the characters, all of the characters except 2 of the main characters, and I mean like the main characters, are interesting as hell and fun to watch. And then there's the 2 main characters who's kind of like blah A and blah B. And at the end of the season, both of them finally do something interesting. And now I'm very interested in what happens in season 2. Because I've heard from people, yes, Meg, the webcomic, the manga series, I've heard where it goes, and I'm like, well, that's awesome, but man, that season's a lot of setup to make me give a crap about those 2. Right. But otherwise, good. So I finished that this week. I also finished season 1 of Killing Eve. I talked about that last week. It's largely written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge and a lot of other folks behind it. And that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's kind of like a less high stakes, little more humorous NBC's Hannibal. Okay. In a way.
Yeah.
But not about a serial killer, about an assassin.
Not many shows get a Hannibal description, so I'm happy to come.
Yeah, it's not as artsy as that. It is, obviously, because it's not Brian Fuller, but it is
Brian Lesser.
There's a relationship between the hunter and the hunted that is very similar. I watched Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Which one's that?
Which
one's that?
The movie?
Dora and the Lost City of Gold. I thought you said Jorah.
No, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Dora the Explorer. That was pretty good for a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
glad
bad.
You like that. That song is...
definitely know what you're getting into. But like, it's good for that.
Hey, that song at the end is pretty great.
That song at the end is something. I'll just say that. I won't say great, but I'll say that song at the end is something. I think also is funny is that I was like, oh, so the movie's like super grounded and like everything that was crazy about Dora's world was just because she was a kid and it was her imagination. And then that's not the case.
Nope.
At a certain point. But everything else was her imagination. I'm just going to tell you, the fox still talks and still wears a mask, even when she's an adult. And everything else prior to that moment had been played off as exaggerated by Dora's imagination.
The bad guys are working with the fox.
Totally chill about it, too.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is that only one person thinks the fox talking and wearing a mask is weird.
Yeah.
Everybody else just rolls with it. And I'm like, that's...
That's a choice.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little lost on how this movie's supposed to play.
There's a scene at the end of Three Below, the Tales of Arcadia. Not a spoiler. It's like then epilogue tag that you guys won't even understand. But there's a bit where they're just like, "Oh my god, it's a talking cat," and one of the characters is like, "Why is the cat wearing glasses?" And I was like, "Wait, you're more concerned about the cat wearing glasses?" Like, yeah, I've seen aliens and I've seen trolls. I'm a little bit more concerned with why the cat needs glasses.
Got bad vision.
Got bad vision.
That's what he says. Like, because of my eyesight.
Yeah. Dora. I think Dora works so well because they never try to like tidy up its weird parts. It gets more eccentric in the third act of the movie. It gets very out there, and they never really try to go back and explain or justify themselves. They're just like, and that's God magic right there.
Yeah.
Hope you like it. We're never going to talk about it, but it's God magic, and it's like, oh,
Thanks, God.
Cool. All right.
I had a pretty good time with that movie, I'll be honest.
We read Power Rangers for our Fake Nerd Book Club. You can check that out. It's up on YouTube now, so I won't say any more about that. Ryan and I finished Umbrella Academy Season 2. Brandon, I believe you also did this.
I did.
We will be talking about it at some point on Fake Nerds Watch whenever Ben catches up to the rest of us.
I will be talking about it Tuesday with Justin Hoyt. Bam, bam, bam.
You heard it here first. Ryan's double dipping on the Umbrella Academy.
Let's hope I remember it when we get there.
Overall, I really liked it. But we're going to say more about it at a later date, so I won't go into that. Ryan's correct. I did just dip my toes into Last of Us Part 2.
Well, didn't you play like 3 or 4 hours?
I played 4 hours.
But that's still dipping your toes.
That's dipping my toes because I reached no point where it even approaches the divisiveness, I think, that is warranted conversation.
All that was...
Everything about it is very much
prologue.
The first game continued, and I'm like, cool, all right, it's all very cozy. I'm very happy here that I haven't entered the bad times, not the real bad times. So
I mean, bad stuff's happened, but yeah,
bad stuff's happened, but I do not feel like I am in the bad times.
Yeah. You don't feel bad.
No. Doom Patrol finished this week with its season cut short by 1 episode. So we did not, I looked into it, we did not get the proper season finale. So the cliffhanger is a real big cliffhanger. That's going to be a long wait for season 3, let me tell you.
Be a long wait for season 3.
Oh boy. Good show.
Good show.
Oh, going to be a long wait. The We Bare Bears movie just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but it did just come out. So I went back and I finished where I was at on the show. So I'm entirely caught up on the show. We Bare Bears is a great show. It's a very relaxing show. It's a very relaxing show. Great for quarantine time. I also started watching Impractical Jokers on HBO Max because I've never watched it. And I'm very deep in the first season now, and I very much enjoy it. That's making me laugh real hard.
That's like good, wholesome pranks, right? Not like mean stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I've watched them on YouTube. None of them get like mean, right?
Oh.
They usually get too chicken to do the mean things, and that's the point.
Because the stuff I've seen, that's generally more like a wholesome kind of like prank show.
Yeah.
Yes, Ben?
No, you also reminded me of something else Fanny and I started watching a little bit this week. So in the past few weeks, when we're like after we go out to get food, like fast food or whatever, we're watching stuff on our phones, and one of the things we've been watching a lot of is Man at Arms Reforged. Do you guys know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So for Brandon, who doesn't know what it is, and for those who don't, Man at Arms Reforged is a YouTube show about a bunch of blacksmiths who make weapons from famous video games, anime, manga, television, film.
I have heard of this. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah. So we watched quite a bit of Man at Arms, and then I forgot what it was, but Fanny was like, "Hey, let's try and watch some Rurouni Kenshin." So we started trying to find Rurouni Kenshin, which last time I saw it was over on Hulu. At least the dub was. But here's the thing about that. The dub on Hulu isn't the dub we know and remember back on Toonami or what we grew up with. It is the bad Hulu dub where they call him Batosai the Slasher, and Kaoru and Yahiko are renamed to Yoshi and Cory. So
I don't like that.
No, I didn't like it either. I didn't like it either.
Check HBO Max. They may have the
original. Oh, no, we did. And then there's like, oh, thank God. The right dub is here. What?
Okay, it's just like, oh, there's more to the story. I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So because I was trying to find out, because I knew Rurouni Kenshin was on HBO Max, and then I did some digging. Apparently, there were 2 dubs made, one by Sony, one by another studio, and the first one was done by the bad dub, because it was like, oh, this is for Western audiences, so they don't have to hear all those crazy Japanese names. And then they got the good one. So the good one is on HBO Max, and it's also the dub that we grew up with, because that was the same one that aired on Cartoon Network back in the 90s. And, of course, the Japanese subtitled one as well.
Sure.
So if you want to watch good Rurouni Kenshin, watch on HBO Max, because Hulu only has the really bad dub one.
Dubbing companies always the problem. That can be true very often.
Yeah.
Licensing and dubs is so weird, because like there's the Evangelion problem. There's always weird stuff going on with dubs.
Yeah. Anyway, Ryan and I moments ago finished watching Palm Springs on Hulu, which was really good. Really enjoyed it a lot.
That's awesome. I really like that movie.
I do too.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad that there was an epilogue about Roy.
Yeah, me too.
It had to happen.
I also caught up entirely, tie-ins, prologues, all the stuff on Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Empire's dope. Mm-hmm. I actually really like this event. I think this event's actually really good.
It is really good.
And there's a lot of good stuff happening in every tie-in I read, I enjoyed. All of them. Captain America, Captain Marvel, obviously Captain Marvel. But good stuff. I'm sad that we're missing something out of the event, because this event is suffering heavily from the coronavirus. If you look at the initial Empire list, when you look at issue 1, they still have what the initial list was. There was supposed to be like an Empire Spider-Man series.
There was a Ram v Thor Empire tie-in.
Yeah,
like he was gonna start writing a Marvel, and like that got canned. I'm like, no.
Yeah, a lot of really cool sounding Empire shit was really going to be spanning, as I feel it should, for this event across the Marvel universe, and it is very much truncated now, and that I shed a tear for all that story we've lost.
Yeah.
And lastly, both Ryan and I played the Avengers beta for the PlayStation 4.
Yes, we did!
Ryan filmed a video of him playing through all the single-player stuff. And then we did a multiplayer video. Both of those will go up soon on Basement Arcade here on our YouTube page. But let's just some quick thoughts on it.
I am pleasantly surprised. I like it a lot. I'm still somewhat worried about the structure of it, simply because it is a live service Destiny type game, and I didn't see enough of the gear and the ability stuff to have me worry about that yet. But the core gameplay itself is really fun. It feels like a like souped up, grounded Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Like everybody has a light, heavy attack, a ranged attack, like a buff attack. But all the characters play differently enough, so it feels different and fun. Yeah. I think all the characters play great. I'm not worried about if I get stuck with Hulk or Black Widow. They're all fun to play, and they're all different enough that I thought was pretty cool.
I will say that I was asked when we started what I thought about it by a friend, and I said, I think there is an inherent clunkiness to all of the characters, just to the way the gameplay is made, that makes it a little awkward, especially when you're trying to make it feel like you're really embodying that character. Mm-hmm. And I think that happens when you're trying to incorporate something that can cover all of these characters, but still be very have enough variety amongst them,
and it's multiplayer
but still be the generic same move sets, more or less, at least of how you do things. That being said, I would say that clunkiness will never truly go away. But the more that you spend playing a particular character, the less you'll notice it.
You get used to it.
You get more accustomed to how to use what is there to your advantage, what isn't going to work well for you, so don't even bother. At least at certain moments in time, that kind of thing.
Much like an Overwatch, like you find who you like.
Yeah,
you just have to, but you can't have multiples of a character.
Yeah, and I think if you do get shoved with another character, like you can play through it. It's going to feel weird pretty much any time if you aren't accustomed to the character. It takes a little bit of gameplay. Like I don't think I got comfortable with Kamala Khan the fastest, I think. Black Widow second, actually, and then I would say Hulk. And then Iron Man takes a lot of work because of the flight.
And there wasn't Thor, because it was a beta.
I mean, you play Thor for a little bit in the story, but it's not enough for you to judge. Captain America 2.
I played Iron Man the most, because I played a couple missions after you were done, just because I like the gameplay enough, and I have some more missions that I haven't done yet. And like, yeah, like he is definitely a character who can hover, and then like you click the stick and you can fly around and stuff. It's not great, but the thing is, like, when you have a game that's potentially going to have up to 20 characters, not every character is going to feel like Spider-Man PS4, where it's focused on one character, you know?
Right.
So when it is it is a multiplayer focused game that has a single player story that you can play with your friends. I think it works for playing with your friends. I think this game is going to be great. The love for the comics is there. Like, there's so many collectibles and there's so many great costumes. The ones that you can unlock, or the ones that you can like buy with the currency that you unlock. They're all great. There's a Joe Fixit with a Hulk in a suit and hat. There's like a really cool like redesign of Iron Man when he's getting out of the cave, where he more looks like it's like a flight suit instead of him being an actual Iron Man. It's really cool. I'm not sold on all the voice acting, to be honest, but I just think I need more of the story. But I think once we all get it, I think we're gonna have a really good time.
Yeah, I think that we had a really good time when we were doing the multiplayer together. The amount that it allows you to kind of like handle it your way, even as you're playing together, I think really works well. It was a lot of fun. I can see where that won't get tiresome. So yeah. Awesome. Okay. As I said, I have quite a bit, so I'll kind of run through a couple of them and then focus on the bigger ones. I rewatched Alien this week. That's really nothing special. That movie was great. You know, I realize how many of that cast is dead right now, which, you know, R.I.P. But that movie's pretty great. My girlfriend did not care for it. We watched it for her. You know what? It's a slow movie. You know, I can see how kind of a modern audience with her sensibilities would probably not care for the slow pace of it. I think she will like Aliens, though, so that's next.
I mean, that is a completely different movie, so probably.
Yeah. I watched for the first time Bill and Ted 1 and 2. I had never seen these movies before. The third one looks really great, so I wanted to check out the first two, so we got them.
All I have to say to that, Brandon, is excellent.
I like the second one a whole lot better than the first. I think the second one is really batshit insane in a way that I very much kind of connected to. The actor who plays Death, who is returning in Bill and Ted 3, is great. The highlight of that movie, William Sadler. And now watching them, I went back to watch the trailer for 3. I got a lot more of that movie now. I'm kind of like, I get some of this now.
No, I actually really do need to rewatch Bill and Ted 1 and 2, 4, 3, because it actually has been a few years since I last seen Bill and Ted 1 and 2. Funny enough, the first Bill and Ted movie I ever saw was Bill and Ted's Bogus Jr., Bill and Ted 2, and then we got Excellent Adventure on DVD years later, and for some reason we never went and got the second one, and we just watched the first movie constantly.
Although, not to Sparks, you have not seen them, so I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But with the ending of that second movie, now I'm very interested to how they make this third movie work.
Yeah.
Because in a good way, I like the ending.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They made the movie.
Yeah, and you know what? Ed Solomon came back to do the movie. He's great. You know, writer of Men in Black. I also watched.
I'm just glad, Brandon, that you actually like Bill and Ted 1 and 2, because those are one of my favorite. Because I love Bill and Ted 1 and 2, and that was one of those movies that I was kind of thinking, I was like, he's probably gonna tear this movie apart. So
no, it's fun. No, I had a good time.
It's not a Ready Player One situation. You're okay.
All right.
I also watched, actually just this morning, Greyhound, the Tom Hanks movie that was sold to Apple TV Plus. I really wish I saw that in theaters. I think the movie looks awesome and is shot in a way where watching it on the big screen would be really fun.
Sure.
It's shot very dynamically. I'm also just a sucker for those kinds of war movies where Tom Hanks yells out an order, someone repeats the order, and the dude executes the order. Like, that happens a lot, and I'm like, hell yeah. This is an action scene.
Yeah, chain of command.
Yeah. He's a captain who doesn't let any shit get past him.
Well, no, it's one of those things where the kind of like the unnecessariness of that dialogue, you know, like Shin Godzilla does it. Like, do we have any options? Do we have any options? You know, that sort of thing.
You know what? I'm planning to go back to Frankenstein's, but I saw a Blu-ray of Shin Godzilla on sale at Frankenstein's for $20.
It's $5 on Amazon, baby. So yeah, I just thought that movie was a lot of fun. It's Nothing great, it's a war movie, but I thought I had a good time with it. Then I also watched the new Seth Rogen movie, co-starring Seth Rogen, An American Pickle.
Oh, that's already out. Jeez.
Yep.
It's on HBO Max.
Jeez.
So I watched that. I found that to be very charming. We saw the trailers. It's much more toned down than what it could be. I don't think it's like great, but I had a good time with it. It's got some good stuff in it, and I think it's a pretty good movie.
I want to watch it.
Also, Seth Rogen as the great grandfather is really good. Then I watched Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection. These are the sequels to 2. They skip 3, 4, 5, 6, and just go 20 years later. There is a reference to 4 that I saw in the opening of H2O.
They definitely skip 6. They kind of reference 4 and 5.
Sure. I found that movie to be pretty good. I was mostly just kind of like whatever about it. The mask is atrocious.
Yes, I agree. It's very of its time.
Yeah,
the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which one has Buster Rhymes?
That's Resurrection.
Okay.
That's Resurrection. Joseph Gordon-Levitt dies in the beginning of H2O, but no more kills for like the rest of the movie. So it was all right. I think I liked it less because the new movie exists, and I like the new movie a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I think the new movie is proof positive of like that concept better. But then I watched Halloween Resurrection because they were both on CBS All Access. By the way, don't ever watch movies on CBS All Access. It is buggy as shit.
We would need a subscription first.
Yeah. So we watched Halloween Resurrection because it's the sequel to that one. That movie's real shit. That movie is real bad.
Doesn't Buster Rhymes like dropkick Michael Myers?
Yeah, but I had a really good time.
It's silly.
I think the movie is so stupid and so silly. It's just kind of fun.
I get it because all the like long running horror movie franchises become that.
Yeah.
But that's the only time Halloween did that. All the others are not that stupid. And that's the only one that hit stupid level. And I'm like, man, that sucks. That sucks that that's the one that hit like absolute stupid.
Katie Sackhoff is in it.
Yeah.
She's, Battlestar Galactica's own Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a good time. But you may have heard that what?
So the guy who directed Halloween 2 directed Halloween Resurrection. Quality drop, baby.
Oh, that is such a quality drop.
Didn't write it.
Oh, that's awful.
So I also I renewed my CBS All Access this week because Star Trek Lower Decks dropped. And I kind of, I just wanted to get in on this 23 weeks full of Star Trek with just Lower Decks and Discovery that they keep promoting. So Star Trek Lower Decks, it's set a year after Star Trek Nemesis, so it's in between Picard and the last time we saw. And I had a really good time. I think it's actually really good.
Awesome.
That's good.
I kind of suspected going in, but if you like the Berman era of Star Trek, of Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, this is very much done by a guy who is also a huge fan of that and just put his love in a comedy. It's not as grotesque as the trailers made led you to believe. It's not as adult, like not Rick and Morty, because it is still Star Trek.
Yeah.
There is a moment where someone holds a heart, though, so there's exceptions. I think the voice acting is really good. I think the comedy lands most of the time, but for a canon junkie, and if you're a canon junkie like me with Star Trek, if you love Star Trek, then Star Trek Lower Decks is the show for you. It is the best of the new Trek series by far because it is. If you're a canon junkie, guys, this one adheres the most to canon.
Crazy.
There are so many references just in the first 20 minutes of the show. It's only 20 minutes long. In the first 20 minutes of the show, then I'm just kind of like, oh, there's that. Oh, there's that. Oh, there's that. Oh, that's right. That did happen then. And so you can kind of like, you're like, wow, Discovery just pissed all over canon, but this one's loving it. Cool.
And it gets to be something different that Star Trek normally isn't anyway. So you can have your cake and eat it too. That's really good there.
It's really refreshing because it's new, and it's really great because it's so it's not referential, but like it loves its canon. It like embraces its canon. I had a really good time. I hope you guys can get to see it. I know CBS All Access, but I think you guys are going to really like it, even if you're not a Star Trek fan. That's my plug. So we'll see what happens. Maybe in weeks. Maybe it sucks after this. Who knows? I watched a quick thing called Farewell, Sarah Jane Smith.
A quick bite? Quibi?
No, this was longer than a Quibi episode.
Oh, okay.
I watched. So I'm a big fan of the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who. I've made that very clear. I think that era is great. There's a companion I really love, Sarah Jane Smith, who's the Fourth Doctor's companion, and she had some cameo appearances with the 10th Doctor. Always played by Elizabeth Sladen. And I really love that character. I was very heartbroken when she passed away a couple of years ago, and that also ended her show, Sarah Connor Chronicles, where she portrayed not Sarah Connor Chronicles, Sarah Jane Adventures. Sarah Jane Adventures.
I was about to say Sarah Connor. That's Lena Headey.
Grandmother of
Lena
Sean
Headey.
Connor.
No, so it ended her show, and I was really sad because I also really enjoyed that show because I was a big fan of just that era of Doctor Who. I didn't realize that this year, they released a tribute to her passing. It's been 10 years on since she passed away, and they released a kind of last episode of the show. And I found that to be very touching. It's just a very touching tribute to the actress, to the character. They got Joe Grant from the original show, and they got the 3 cast members, the 3 kids that hung around with her, to just kind of like say how much they love Sarah Jane Smith because Sarah Jane Smith has passed away. And I thought that was just really sweet and really well handled. And there's, if you're that era Doctor Who fan, there's a lot to love. Captain Jack went to the funeral. The Brigadier's daughter was there, and and the Doctor couldn't be reached because he was saving the galaxy or whatever, like things of that nature. And it was just kind of really nice, and I really enjoyed it.
That's good, dude.
Sorry, we have cat stuff happening.
It's okay.
You shared that with me, and that was cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Get her out from under there.
I did watch like you guys. I watched the Umbrella Academy season 2, which I really enjoyed. We'll talk more about it on the thing. But I also read the Umbrella Academy Volume 2, Dallas. That's the next 6-issue miniseries. I read that after I watched the show. Very different, very interestingly different.
That's not surprising. Volume 1 and the season 1 were super different too. But it's very, very shocking. I was reading. I was like, how did they get the idea to do some of the stuff in the show? And Volume 2 introduces Hazel and Cha-Cha, who weren't in Volume 1, but they're in season 1.
Yeah.
Luna.
The Masks people are there, but they're not named Hazel and Cha-Cha. Yeah. That's good to hear. They keep the stuff that works and then try to do something different. The core plot is the same though, basically, right? Like they go back in time. No.
Nope.
Oh, cool! I love it.
So the original volume, they don't go back in time to the 1960s until the last 2 issues.
Interesting.
The rest of the book is trying to figure out who killed all those people in the diner from season 1.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the direction of season 2. So like
I didn't read into it a bunch, but I did see them saying that ideas from the show are now going to influence the comics.
Oh yeah,
and be incorporated into the comics more.
Yeah, I think I like the show more. I think the show is more interesting in the way it tackles the same concepts personally. But that could also just be I watched them first, so who knows. The last show from the Tales of Arcadia series, which started with Troll Hunters and then 3 Below, Wizards, the 3rd one, has aired. It aired on Friday. Jar and I binged it. I don't like to binge stuff, but this watch is like a 10-hour movie, 5-hour movie because it's 30-minute long episodes. That show's excellent. Maybe a little too fast for its own good. Paced a little too fast. We kind of lose some character development. But we see the return of a lot of characters from Troll Hunters that we didn't see in 3 Below. And I think that whole animated franchise, and there's a movie coming out. I didn't put it in the news, but there's a new movie coming out next year that will be the end game. This was Infinity War, the movie's end game, essentially. We're going to see them all come together with 3 Below, Troll Hunters, and fight whoever the bad guy is. And I just think those 3 shows, the Tales of Arcadia franchise, I realized they were born out of tragedy with Anton Yelchin's passing, but those shows are really great. And they work really well together as just kind of a fun, easy shared universe to kids get into, a serialized animated show that is made for all ages. The storytelling is top notch. I think that whole franchise is excellent. I hope you guys get a chance to watch it. With that movie coming out, who knows? But I think you guys are really going to like it, and I hope you get to watch it soon. Then I bought and read 11 issues of New Mutants, 3 issues of Wolverine, and 2 issues of Cable. After reading all 4 issues of FF X-Men and all 4 issues of the Giant Size X-Men books.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 100% caught up with the X-Men. There is not an X-Men book. There's not an X-Men book I have not read right now.
I love to see it. They love it. They love it.
I committed to Wolverine, New Mutants, and Cable. It's really short notice. New Mutants, I found myself enjoying the Ed Brisson stories more than the Jonathan Hickman stories in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought those issues of, what do you do to the countries who aren't recognizing Krakoa as a sovereign nation? What do you do with the drugs there? And I found that to be an interesting place to develop and explore. I found Wolverine to be a lot of fun, and I really loved Cable.
Dude, Cable's so fun. It's fantastic.
I knew you were gonna like Cable,
and that Phil Noto art is just so gorgeous. Again, it's like Cable is a character I'd never really care about. It just takes one creative team or one character change. Like, just make him a shitty teenager. Cool.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I really like Cable. It brings back the Space Knights, even though they don't have Rom. It's basically Rom.
Rom's coming back to Marvel soon. What are they doing with Rom? What are they doing with Rom?
Well, they own. That's the part of the Hasbro universe that IDW has.
They own the Space Knights, but they don't own Rom, the Space Knights. It's so goofy. They keep using the Space Knights and cosmic stuff, but
yeah, because Rom is a Hasbro character, and the backstory was created by Marvel. So now Rom is part with IDW with all the other Hasbro books.
He's like more related to like the Transformers now than he is like his actual people. It's interesting.
I really liked all 4 issues of Giant Size X-Men. I thought those were all really good, and I really liked all 4 issues of Fantastic Four X-Men. I thought that were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
really interesting way to take that book.
Yeah, Doom. I love Doom just being the shithead.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, of course you do that. Yeah, okay.
And
no, I was a really big fan of Doom talking to what's her name?
Valeria.
Yeah.
Valeria, yeah.
Valeria, like her
Valeria.
Yeah. I always call her Valeria. It's like, but wait, no, that's the movie.
Valerian.
It's Valerian.
Damn it. There's a V in there.
There's a scene. Have you read 4 yet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I read it all, baby.
I'm just making sure. There's a scene
Awesome.
where, because in the original X-Men FF book, Dr. Doom helped Kitty get her powers back. Unbeknownst to her, he did something to her that he can control her powers because he makes her weigh like 1 billion tons and just crashes her through the floor. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That sucks. That's so bad. Because also, spoilers, Kitty's been dead in the comics for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. Her casket is on the cover of Marauders 11.
Yep.
So I'm like, wow, we're finally getting to like, she died so long ago. Oh my God. Because I forget she's still alive in FF.
No, I cannot. I am waiting with bated breath for Marauders number 11. But no, that ending of FF Fantastic Four X-Men, where
yes, I know what you're gonna say. I think we all know what you're gonna say, but we're not gonna talk about it.
No, we're not gonna talk about
it during a topic. So we're gonna end that there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying the X-Men books. It's really interesting. You're watching. I feel like you're reading history in the making, like pop culture history in the making, and that feels 100%. Really special. And that feels super special. Yeah, I can't believe I'm reading every single X-Men book.
I was literally talking to my anime night friends, and they're just because we had to pick a new show after Tower of God, and they're like, "Oh, they're naming this one. They're naming this one." It's like, man, I really wish that some of you would just, mostly meaning me, would just watch all of these anime so we could talk about them. And I'm like, I really wish you guys would read X-Men so we could talk about Krakoa. And they're like, what's Krakoa? And I'm like, sit back for a moment. Let me tell you, you have a nation.
I really liked all those books. I didn't read Fallen Angels. That's long past, so I'm not going to bother. But I
would say if you can, I also didn't finish it, to be fair. You did. But like, if you can get it on sale, you tell me it's interesting enough. Or like, you read it just so you know the history of those characters and what it does for Krakoa. Because like the stuff from that book does transfer to other books.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, look, I will say that I would not even own Fallen Angels
Damn.
if I wasn't going to be getting the Dawn of X trades, where they keep those issues in there, and that kind of justifies it to me.
Mhm.
There's enough there where it's like, if you aren't reading it, then it feels like these characters haven't been around and doing things that kind of matter when they come up again, like Psylocke's relationship with Mr. Sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, what Mr. Sinister's been up to, you get a better idea of from that book. Specifically, just Psylocke acknowledging where she's at as far as in terms of Betsy Braddock is the best part of that whole book. That's really the only moment that I think matters.
Yeah,
is her acknowledging where she's at with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just to herself. It's not even to the real Betsy. So it's not like it matters contextually out of. It's just nice to know.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it because I read through it hoping that there was going to be more to it, and Fallen Angels just never gets good.
That stinks.
The art stays kind of bleh as far as I'm concerned. It never really gets better, and the story just never reaches the level of anything else going on in the Dawn of X pantheon.
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah,
and that's just what it is.
So yeah, I also read the latest issues of X-Men and Empire X-Men. Yeah, I'm all caught up on the X-Men books. I never thought in a million years I'd be picking up an X-Men book, let alone 8.
Yeah, I love it.
I just find it funny how on Saturday I'm talking to the guy at Frankenson's about, because I'm looking through his Wolverine stuff, and he had all 3 current issues, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what they're going to say, but I'm just going to double check. So I sent a message out to the Fake Nerd text thread. I'm like, hey, should I be picking up Wolverine? Less than a minute later, Ryan's like, yes.
I read a lot of comics this week.
I felt like Ryan just like popped out of nowhere. It was like one of those, and he's like, buy Wolverine, Ben. I will smack you if you don't.
Spider-Man has a spider sense. I have an X-Men sense.
Look, if I were telling this to someone who's not up on comics like we are, and they were just like, I kind of want to read Hickman's X-Men, how would I read it? I'd be more like, I would just start with like Pox, obviously, and then I would go with X-Men. I would maybe recommend a couple issues of New Mutants to see how they feel about it. X-Force. And then I wouldn't push it much past that and just see how they feel there and kind of grow on their own. But if you're a person who is into comics, I'm like, you're really not getting the whole picture unless you're. I would argue
X Factor is if all the books to pick, X Factor is one of the top ones.
X Factor now.
Because that tackles a lot of the stuff that's super interesting about Krakoa, about like the resurrections and what you do when somebody dies, and all that stuff is so fascinating. It's also just a well-written book, but like that
just had their issue 1 just came out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That book is
so. I was thinking
you were so right. It's so horny.
It's so horny.
Yeah, dude.
It's great.
I'm gonna call it the Bone Zone.
I do think though that like anyone like us, you are missing some of the story if you're not reading it all. That's just what it is, and
that's how they get you.
How great it is that it's all for the most part good. We've had one stinker title and it already ended. So
we didn't resurrect it.
Like other than that, it's all great. It's all great.
Like when we talked about all the number.
I don't mean any offense to the Children of the Atom book, but if you're canceled, I'll be okay with that because it's too much.
No, I get it.
So much.
I'm happy because I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous because when Ten of Swords coming out, I'm getting every single Ten of Swords book that I can get my hands on.
That's why I did it.
I don't care. I don't care if I'm going to have a red. I don't care if I'm going to have a random issue of the New Mutants. I don't care if I'm going to have a random issue of what else am I not picking up? X-Force, which probably will change because I still have the books that Ryan loaned me months ago. And while I was they're safe and sound. And while I was at Frankenstein's, I saw the trade and I thought to myself, you know what? I will give X-Force these 5 issues. If I'm hooked now, because I'm probably going back this weekend, I will not only find that trade, pick it up and catch up and put it on my pull list.
It's going to be hooked.
Probably will.
I wanted to say
X gonna give it to you, baby.
That I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
Sorry.
I'm really glad you guys are so steeped in it. Yes, X of Swords is coming. We will talk about all this X-Men stuff in due time. We've already mentioned to each other that we're doing it as a topic soon. So
hell yeah, baby.
I'm going to. Oh god, I can't I'm just going to go to Burbank to the Marvel Studios and be like, just take my money, Ten of Swords, just give it to me right now. Here you go.
Yeah, I read.
And I tell you that $120 is not enough to start a movie.
I love it. I loved all of them.
I'm glad.
Oh yeah, one of the things Ileana. I wanted to say I really like Ileana Rasputin.
Magic. Yeah.
I love her. And the Hickman Nubians issues was like, real quickly, do you want to make out? No. Do you want to make out? No. Do you want to make out? Well, kind of, but it's not really appropriate right now.
Yeah. Like I'm on the
It's
job.
like-
Sorry. It's like,
Oh,
damn, that's a
okay.
shame. I kill ya. Yeah.
It's a shame. Die.
That's why I'm so excited for that whenever that movie comes out, because Anya Taylor-Joy is such a wonderful actress, and like if she has half of the dynamic of the character from the comic, then that she's gonna be fantastic.
I believe
That movie's not coming out in 3 weeks.
Whew. All
Yeah,
right.
seriously. All right, let's get into the news. It's been a long time. Guys, we don't see each other often. Sorry,
We don't.
chat room.
We can't talk to each other face to face, so this is the only way we can do it.
We talk to each other when we play Dead by Daylight, but there are other people who don't want us to talk about X-Men when we do it. So,
And even
Okay.
when because Sparks and Ryan were kind of to pick up my books, even when I was here when I pick up my books, it's a quick here you go, shoo.
well, to be fair, Ben, you were
Possibly.
possibly exposed.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
So we
Oh
were
no,
like,
I'm not putting Sparks, right? I am not putting it against you guys. I completely 100% understand.
So, real quick, Ben, you want to mention something, but I want to bring up the first thing. I want to bring up this first before you do.
Of course, yeah.
There is Jiro Kuwata, a mangaka, creator of 8-Man, the artist, the illustrator, the creator, co-creator of the Bat manga.
yes.
They recently re-released those. Those are a lot of fun, guys. Check those out. He passed away this week at the age of 85.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's he revitalized an old Batman villain in Lord Deathman, so a lot of people think he created him. But he kind of brought him back into the, like, it's very much of the 60s time, because it was kind of created in response to the 60s Adam West series.
Yes.
But I had a really good time reading that book. He's a great artist, great Batman designs. So it's a shame.
Yeah.
That is a shame.
Mhm.
I'm not super familiar with the Bat manga.
They're fun. I think you'd like them a lot.
It looks fun. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it looks like Adam West, but like manga. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Ben, and now you wanted to bring up something.
Yes. Yeah. So, Kate Titus, if you're still listening, I'd let me know where in Japan you live, because you might know a little more about this than I do. But earlier this week, because of coronavirus, one of the most famous arcades in Akihabara, Japan. Now, for those who don't know, Akihabara is kind of like the arcade otaku anime capital of the world. There's so many anime stores. There's arcades that go multiple floors. But one of the most famous arcades, Sega Akihabara Building 2, is officially closing due to COVID-19, which is a big because this is one of the most famous arcades. It's been there for over 17 years. Sega has so many machines there, and it's not just one floor, it's multiple floors. If you ever go to that area of Japan, a lot of the department stores and anime stores and manga store, whatever have you, it's not just like a single little entrance and that's it. There are multiple floors. There's multiple levels of this stuff. And this arcade had multiple levels, and the last day this arcade is going to be essentially in operation is August 30th. The reason why they're closing is because, even as far as I know, and I could be wrong, so Kate Titus, if I'm wrong, let me know. Even though the coronavirus is somewhat contained a bit in Japan, I don't know how it is over there. But because of coronavirus and not a lot of people are going out to arcade, and it's gonna die, which sucks because arcade culture in Japan is a lot different than arcade culture here in the United States.
Yeah, they still care about arcade games.
They do. They give a shit. They love going to arcades out there. And
what's an arcade?
Yeah. I mean, luckily, because the two arcades here and especially in our area in the Southern California, the ones that I know of for sure, like Neon Retro Arcade and Lost Levels Arcade, two arcades that I talk about sometimes quite a bit here whenever I can. Like Neon is hanging by a thread. Luckily, they're still in business and they cannot wait to reopen.
They have a GoFundMe.
They do, yeah. I'm actually gonna buy a hat from them later tonight.
Oh, that's serious, damn.
Yeah, yeah, they had to sell a bunch of things. But Lost Levels, they're lucky because they're also a retail store. And they switched from being an arcade to mostly a retail store. But for Akihabara, Sega Akihabara Building 2, they don't have that luxury. They're going to close down. And this is the only arcade that I know of that's closing down for sure. But it sucks because you guys know I freaking love arcades.
Yeah.
And even before I knew whenever I was going to visit Japan, Akihabara was going to be that one spot is like, I have to go to Akihabara. Yeah, rest in peace,
Mag
Sega
says,
Arcade.
R.I.P. Sega Arcade.
Yeah, because that was a huge tourist spot. And if COVID didn't happen, if Fanny was going to go to Akihabara in Japan earlier this year, she was going to go to an arcade for me. And it sucks that they're closing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, because as far as I know, Japan doesn't really do like GoFundMe, try to save the arcade. So, and fans didn't know. They walked in, those who were brave going outside, they saw a closure notice on the elevators, and that was it. That's all she wrote. So,
just on the note of Neon Retro Arcade having a GoFundMe, they're well above their goal, so they're doing fine.
Yeah. Neon Retro Arcade, funny enough, a few weeks ago they had a news story on ABC 7 News.
That's cool.
So they were, and also I follow them on Instagram and Twitter, and they're posting like, "Hey, help support the arcade. You can still donate to the GoFundMe, as far as I know. But also you can buy shirts, face masks, hats. I'm definitely gonna get a Neon Retro Arcade hat tonight once we're done recording. I got paid on Friday, so of course I've gotta get one. And luckily, as far as I know, Lost Levels, they're doing okay. They're still up and around. Both locations in Claremont and Fullerton are still alive. And as far as I know, once this is over, both Northridge and Pasadena locations for Neon Retro Arcade should open. That's as far as I know. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But
I don't think anybody's sure because nobody knows when open.
Exactly. We don't know when that is. So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's rest in peace, Akihabara Sega 2.
Let's quickly talk about what else the COVID crisis has done. Bill and Ted Face the Music, unfortunately, has been moved up a week. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
They moved up a week to August 28th, the same day as New Mutants.
Now we have a topic.
Oh, we can actually, yeah.
That's the same day that New Mutants comes out, so let's see which one does in the box office.
Oh, Brandon.
Who knows?
Why do you even, it isn't.
Don't take it away from me. Yeah, it's not. Anyway, Antebellum also finally announced that they are going to forego a theatrical distribution and go straight to VOD on September 18th. So
that's a bummer, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that movie is, because we still don't really know anything about that movie.
No.
Like the trailer doesn't really show a lot, so I don't even know if it's like a big budget movie or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see on September 18th, though.
Hopefully, drive-ins.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that one in drive-in.
All right. Captain Marvel 2 has a director, hopefully. We're hearing reports that Nia DaCosta, the director of the upcoming Candyman, has been hired to direct Captain Marvel 2. I think that's awesome, and I really hope it's true.
Yeah, I don't... obviously, we haven't seen Candyman. I haven't seen anything else she's made. Candyman looks dope, and a black female director is always wanted in Hollywood, especially for big superhero movies, because like the representation is sorely needed.
I think this is especially important if we are, as I think we will, going to include Monica.
Yeah, like Photon. Yeah, 100%.
I think that's awesome. I'm definitely glad it's not the directors from the first one.
I agree.
I liked the first one. I listened to their Empire podcast piece about it, and I didn't much care for like their perspective on how they felt they were telling the story. I was like, I don't think you did that.
Yeah.
So while I like Captain Marvel, I think that there were shortcomings, and I think that some of them were directorial. So I'm looking forward to someone else taking the mantle with Captain Marvel 2.
Me too.
And it's a confirmation that that movie's happening. So that's good.
I mean, the first one made $1 billion. They'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody smart was worried.
Yeah.
No. And then we finally found out what's going to happen with Mulan, the upcoming Disney remake for their classic animated film. It will be released on September 4th on Disney Plus at a new tier on Disney Plus, a kind of premiere tier for a one-time payment of $39.99. And we've got confirmation that it is to keep it in your library for as long as your Disney Plus.
$29.99 or $39?
$29.99.
Okay. I thought did I hear 39?
Yeah, you did say 39, Brandon.
Oh, I meant 29. I'm sorry.
I thought I was going crazy for a second.
Yeah, I was like, what?
For $29.99, it will be on the premier Disney Plus tier, and will stay there until your Disney Plus subscription ends.
Yep.
They say that Bob Chapek, the person who runs Disney right now, says we're looking at Mulan as a one-off, as opposed to saying there's some new business windowing model that we're looking at. So it looks like it's unlikely this will happen with Black Widow, unless they're desperate.
It's a one-off unless this makes a lot of money,
Yeah.
and there's just no way to know right now. We do know,
and even then, I think that it won't be a one-off for smaller Disney properties.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
100%.
Yeah,
because
they can do that. They can. I don't see why this wouldn't make a lot of money. It is kind of unfortunate that it wouldn't get the kind of like Black Panther thing going. I did see a thing where someone made a case of like it kind of sucks that because people were looking at this for being another culturally impactful like Black Panther because it's an mostly ethnic cast and a mostly ethnic behind the scenes thing, like we were hoping like for that kind of thing, and due to the coronavirus crisis it's unlikely they'll get that now, and that's kind of a bummer.
It is. I mean, I'm glad we're finally going to be able to see it. At first, I wasn't too keen on paying $30, but after talking to you guys
it's steep though.
Well, the thing is, because it's steep for myself and my girlfriend, because when the both of us go to the movies, even if one person pays for a ticket for the two of us, it's $20, solid, no problem, no worries.
What about snacks and concessions?
The other person pays for the snacks and concessions.
Well, no, the point is that going to the movie can be an expensive thing. So
it can.
But I only say it as steep because like generally to own a VOD movie it's like $20. To rent it's $15. Yeah. In this case, it's a $10 increase in that sort of thing. So I kind of like I will acknowledge it's steep. It's doable, but
it's not egregious. And even talking with Sparks and Ryan, I believe it was Sparks who said that a family of 4 or a family of 5. Saving thank you, Ryan. It was Ryan who said it, but they're saving like $100 for a one-time payment of $30, and the entire movie can see it. And it's not only that, it's going to stay in your Disney Plus library. That's actually not that big. It's essentially you're buying the Blu-ray before the Blu-ray even comes out.
All the families that have Disney Plus are definitely going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that $30 isn't a lot of money. I'm thinking of like regular people who don't have like the AMC A list. It's just like the regular Joes who go with their friends to see movies. Like it's $15 for a ticket. You're spending $20 on concessions for a bunch of people. Like it's not that much. And if this were just renting, I'd be a little more mad. But you own it, Disney Plus. But you have it to watch it as many times as you want. Yeah, you're buying a Blu-ray like this. I think this is the best opportunity, the best thing you could do in this situation.
Yeah, and also it's also and also
wait, Ben, sorry, real quick, Sparks, what did you say?
I said, and the movie needs to come out.
It does, and also.
I'm sorry, Ben. Real quickly on the news. I'm so sorry, Ben. The part of the news is in the areas that Disney Plus is not in. So a lot of places in Europe and Russia and across the seas, it will be in theaters. Yeah. It will be released in theaters.
Right.
Because America sucks, and there are other places in the world that things are fine and they can go to the movies. Yeah. Much like Tenet. I don't know about New Mutants. I wonder if New Mutants is a situation where that will open up in Europe at the end of the month, and then we can get on streaming service in like 2 months or a month or something. I don't know.
HBO Max.
And if we were able to travel, I would say, hey, let's go to New Zealand, boys, but we can't because they won't let us in.
Listen, I want to see New Mutants. I don't need to travel to Brazil or something this year.
I'm not doing that.
I want to go to New Zealand so I can visit Hobbiton. I want an ale in front of. Okay. I want a beer in front of that movie set. But that's the second point. When I was saying I have to applaud, at first I was like, but I definitely applaud Disney for saying, it's like, okay, once you're done paying this, it's gonna be on there, so you can watch it again and again and again, and you don't have to worry about it disappearing after a week and a half.
This is an extenuating circumstance. We are all treading water, trying to figure out what the next move is going to be. All those theater chains in Britain where Disney Plus is all bitching. It's like, look, they're doing what they can to get this movie out.
Yeah,
it's uncharted waters out there. We don't know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is we don't need to worry about making the topic because we already reviewed Mulan, and you can go check it out right here on our YouTube feed.
It's true.
God, I forgot. Did that
and I'm not being cheeky and saying we reviewed the Disney anime one. No, I mean we made a review for the live-action Mulan when it came out originally.
Sure did. Yep. A whole month of real reviews.
And then that started to get sad because they just kept pushing.
And then it just got worse and worse and worse.
All right, so
I feel like we should have reviewed Tenet personally.
Oh my God. And then when Batman showed up and Leo DiCaprio from Inception, that movie is weird.
Oh man,
I'm not overruling a Leo DiCaprio cameo in Tenet.
Oh no. What if
it could be a sequel to Inception? I'm just saying. I'm calling it now.
How strong is this margarita again?
All right, look, I'm not drinking. HBO Max has renewed Close Enough, the show from the regular show creators. They've renewed it for a second season.
Bless be. That show is amazing. It is hilarious. I freaking love it. It is definitely a show for late 20s, early 30s kids, or people, I should say. And I'm glad Close Enough is getting season 2. So excited.
Yeah. And speaking of HBO Max, they're also losing a bunch of stuff to go to Peacock.
What the damn hell?
It's
Universal's streaming service.
It's not even that they're going to Peacock. It's the movies that are going to Peacock.
It is the Harry Potter saga, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. These are Warner Brothers owned movies.
Bro,
Yo, how come Dark Knight Rises is on HBO Max?
because it's the one nobody wants.
And they're going to Peacock. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you started the streaming service. Like, look, all the Harry Potter movies in one place. And you're losing them 2 months into this?
That's, again, when they did the extension thing on the DC movies, and some of those are still leaving. Like, I'm baffled.
HBO Max rollout has been a joke.
Yeah.
I don't even mind like leaving. Like you want to try to implement a vault system until your servers are big enough. Okay, whatever. I think you're dumb, but I get that actually. This where it's just like, no, they're just going to another service owned by another company. A rival even.
Okay, so remember back when we were talking about Warner Brothers and their reactionary status to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and them trying to push out a DC Cinematic Universe and that not working?
You guys see the picture of a not Apocalypse? What's his name?
Steppenwolf.
Yeah. So DC. So essentially,
Still looks like
because of I almost said DC. So Warner Brothers, I feel once again flubbing up because they just pushed out a streaming service, HBO Max, because Disney Plus came out, and they're like, we gotta do something as well. And now, Get was Harry Potter, the Get was the DC films, and now they're all going to a completely different service. And the only way I can possibly, this is me grabbing at straws here, possibly say that the only reason why Peacock is getting the Potter films is because Universal Studios has Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I know.
It is a rights issue because a lot of these new streaming services are running into the idea that we sold the rights to stream and air these movies a long time ago before our services were up. That's why the Star Wars movies weren't all on Disney when it launched, because they had a licensing deal with Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have this problem coming up where like. Although I have no idea who the hell they sold exclusive streaming rights to Harry Potter to.
I don't know.
To end up on Peacock.
I don't know.
It seems really short-sighted because like if you knew you were going to launch something and you were going to lose your some of your premiere stuff like months later, just wait and don't have it on there.
Yeah.
Like
when you open up HBO Max, the third thing that you scroll down to is all 8 Harry Potter films.
Now are they just like Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah, they are front and center.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Nobody wants to stream that shit.
Yeah, but they're starting with Sorcerer's Stone and ending with Deathly Hallows Part 2. All 8. You want a marathon? Here you go.
Well, now you got to go to Peacock.
Now you got to go to Peacock. And who knows that you have to probably pay the premium to watch all 8 Harry Potter films now.
Hey, man. Peacock has some shows I want to watch. Like,
still
good for them. Good for them. Whatever.
I'll just buy the entire series of Parks and Rec. That's all I care about. That's the only thing I care about on that.
This is also kind of like, hey, physical media is kind of rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also trying to wait till the Harry Potter.
Right there.
I need to own all 8. There's
a
Blu-ray collection.
I have 2 copies of Harry Potter, 1 through 8.
Yeah, you also have 2 copies of Lord of the Rings that kind of irks me a little bit.
I like both those. What can I say?
No, I completely understand. It just ticks me off because you have the one thing that I'm missing from my collection.
Maybe my next purge. Who knows?
That's on you, bud.
Get the Blu-ray. It's cheap enough.
He has it.
I want to. Every time I find it, it's over $150, and I don't have $150 to burn.
Black Friday, it's like 20.
Bob, I'm waiting for Black Friday then.
On Amazon.
This was
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh my gosh,
right.
yeah. I got the extended Blu-ray for Lord of the Rings for like $40. And that was
Friday?
like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But it was like 6 years ago. That's on you.
Ben, I gotta tell you, if you got over your hate for Amazon, you'd have so many more things.
Oh my God, guess what I just pre-ordered on Amazon? I caved and I pre-ordered the Gamera films on Blu-ray.
Yo, man, turtles with jetpacks.
Because it comes with the Dark Horse comic that was out of print. I'm like, oh shit.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. All right,
good.
so
let's move on.
Never seen Gamera. We'll see.
HBO Max is stupid. We know.
All right. So speaking of Warner Brothers being stupid, actually, you know what? I won't say it. I'll take that last insult back. DC Comics. We heard about this last week, but I wanted to wait for the official announcement from DC Comics because there wouldn't be anything to say. But it's happening. Injustice Year Zero is what Tom Taylor has been teasing for the last 2 weeks. It is a kind of team up book between the JSA and the JLA, written by Tom Taylor. He's coming back with art by.
She's out.
The first 3 issues are out.
Yeah.
With art by Roj Antonio, Cyan Tormey, Rain Barreto, and Wes Abbott.
CM Tormey is an excellent artist that I love, and he's great on Twitter. He loves Doctor Doom. He loves drawing Doctor Doom. I love him.
So like I said, the first 3 chapters are out. This is the solicitation for the series. Focus the action around the series is going to focus the action around the Justice League and the discovery of how their predecessors covertly fought within World War II to bring down a tyrant. When the Joker finds a way to control DC's superheroes, he uses his leverage to sabotage the Justice League and the JSA from the inside. So
yeah. We talked about it a little bit. I don't necessarily care about the stuff before Injustice, if I'm being honest.
I always assumed it was just the DC universe.
It kind of appears that way, just with a different story. He can just tell his like an Ultimate Universe story. This is going to be why Joker has a vendetta against Superman. That's one of the reasons this book's being written. So he has like a reason to go to Metropolis and do the things he does, Lois Lane and all that stuff. It's cool that the JSA is involved, but like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of waiting for Injustice 3 more than I'm looking for Injustice 0.
Right.
Because the DC fandom event's happening soon, and Ed Boon's going to be there. He's not going to be talking about...
The only way that I think Year Zero holds a massive appeal is if the JSA members are part of Injustice 3.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It could still be a prequel and do Injustice. Yeah. Could be.
But I kind of just bring those characters into Injustice 3, and this is kind of like explaining, hey, this is where they were. This is why they haven't been around. This is why they're coming in.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of would have rather Tom Taylor just do a JSA book for DC Comics.
They want to leave the JSA alone for some reason.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That splash page in Doomsday Clock was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever. Anyway. We'll see how this turns out when it comes to print. I always wait for the single issues in print.
Yeah, same.
All right. Marvel Comics has canceled Ghost Rider after issue 7, canceling the 8 and 9 issues and the Empire tie-ins. And Doctor Strange by Mark Waid has been canceled after 6 issues.
I was reading that one. I was reading both of them. It's just been a while.
I was reading Ghost Rider. Yeah.
That sucks. Like the pandemic is just doing bad things to small comics.
It's also like the worst place to cancel Ghost Rider because you've got the 6-issue trade.
Yeah.
And now there's going to be a trade with 7.
Yeah. And it's gonna be like the start of like the next arc or whatever.
And they said they're gonna release like some older like one-shot stuff with it, and I'm like, that's a shame. That's terrible.
I looked at the sales of Ghost Rider, and it's a low seller. It's a low seller, and that it's unfortunate that like he doesn't have a big movie out because that'll keep his book alive no matter what. Unfortunately,
especially with like all the Avengers tie-in stuff that happened not that long ago, just before the Ghost Rider series started.
Yeah,
that didn't like spill into. I thought this Ghost Rider run would have actually taken off.
And what stinks is even though Ghost Rider traditionally isn't a high-selling book, but critically this book is doing well.
Right.
Like I think like we're all reading it. I was really liking it. Like the King of Hell stuff is super cool.
I think the King of Hell stuff is really cool. How it's kind of corrupting Johnny, and I think the Spirit of Corruption was an awesome storyline.
Yeah, and having like a bunch of different Ghost Riders and stuff. Like I'm always a fan of that. That stinks. And Ed Brisson, like he's doing New Mutants. Like that dude is getting a lot more work. And I like him a lot. I'm starting to like him more. That stinks. That's a stinker.
Yep.
But they have announced they're going to do a new book based around U.S. Agent, a 5-part miniseries written by Christopher Priest with art by Stefano Landini.
So Christopher Priest is a great writer. When he's not tackling political stuff, he is very, very right wing. It's very curious that they're giving him a fascist Captain America book because that's who the U.S. agent is. He's the Captain America who does work for the government and is like their lapdog. It's because he's in that the Falcon Winter Soldier show. So of course he's going to get a book. I'm just curious what they're gonna do with him, because he's traditionally like not a good guy. He was in the ForceWorks 2020 book. That's how they brought him back, and he's a hero now. But
they're gonna make him like some roundabout representation of Blue Lives Matter.
Oh no! I really Christopher Priest, like that dude, like his Black Panther run's legendary. Like he did a Deathstroke run that's really weird. He was pretending to be Deathstroke was Damien's dad or whatever. That dude does interesting work. I'm just curious that he's getting a Captain America-esque book. That's curious to me. I hope he can stay away from grossness. I'll say.
It's out in November, so we'll see.
Again, all these characters are getting canceled books, but we're getting a U.S. agent book. I'm like, that's where our comics need. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of comics, Rocksteady finally told us what they've been working on for the past 5 years. We kind of knew.
For years, yeah.
For years. But we finally know they are working on Suicide Squad. That's all we know outside of the image.
The working title is Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League.
Yeah. You see the poster with Superman with the crosshair saying Suicide Squad. So you're going up against at least Superman.
If you look at his eyes, much like if like Doctor Strange Caecilius or whatever, his Superman's eyes have purple light coming out of them, and his eyes are crackling. So this is also rumored. So some of this leak stuff is coming true. A villain has basically taken over the Justice League, kind of used his Justice League Tower Babel, Justice League Doom plans, and have taken over the Justice League. And it's going to be you working your way up to being the last fight being against Superman.
Okay.
Conceptually, that sounds cool. Yeah. I am into that. If it was like a movie, maybe. I'm so conflicted because Rocksteady makes incredible games. Like all the Batman games are awesome, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't know if I want another dark, gritty, like Arkham Asylum with the Suicide Squad. I don't know if that's what I want.
Right. Certainly not after like all the years of like everyone hoping it was a Superman game and all that. I'm like, even if it wasn't Superman, I was hoping for something that felt more ambitious.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing.
Arkham kind of different.
Yeah, we still don't know what it is. And there was those leaked videos of a Superman model, and that's from this game. Like we were wondering, are they working on a Justice League game? That was the rumor for a long time. It's like, no, they're gonna kill the Justice League. The question is, are they actually gonna do that? Is this gonna be an Elseworld thing where they do take out the Justice League? Because you can't.
I have heard this is actually set between Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum. So paying off the Arkham Origins and credits tease with the Suicide Squad.
That actually, I guess that makes sense.
So they're not killing them; they're just knocking them out.
Yeah, like
we don't know. We don't know. We'll know more at DC Fandom. That's why they announced it, to say that they are coming to DC Fandom towards the end of this month.
I don't know if you've seen the lineup. I'm so excited for that thing, dude. That is going to be the real Comic-Con of the summer. There's not just comic stuff, but there's all the movie stuff. There's going to be Batman stuff. There's going to be Mortal Kombat movie trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Baby.
I'm and the layout of how it's going to work is really interesting.
I'm excited.
The person who designed that whole marketing campaign, good job.
Yeah. I think the Suicide Squad design looks pretty cool. Like the Suicide Squad logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do like how it's a crosshair. I do enjoy that.
I have full faith in Rocksteady making a great game. I'm not worried about the game. I'm just like, I gotta wait and see. Is this a game that I want? That being said, the writer of it is a comedian writer, and I showed you guys on Twitter. Like she's also writing Fable, which is a comedy game. So if this game is going to be maybe lighter in tone than we expect, it could be a completely different game than what we're imagining. Yeah. We just don't know. You tell me Suicide Squad kills Superman, I'm like,
And Warner Brothers Montreal is also rumored to come to DC Fandom with something Batman related.
They are Gotham Knights that's happening.
It's pretty much presumed that it is Gotham Knights and that it is tied to the continuity of the Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
All right, so PlayStation had another thing this week.
A small little
thing. I'm sure we want to talk about them, so I had to put all the things on here.
I appreciate it.
Crash Bandicoot 4 had a gameplay trailer.
Yo, man, that looks like more Crash Bandicoot, and I don't mean that negatively. They're not totally reinventing the wheel, but they're adding some stuff. But looks like more Crash. That's great.
Hey, that's what I love Crash Bandicoot, and I'm getting more. Wow, sorry, phlegm. But okay. I'm getting more Crash. I've been excited for Crash 4 since I saw that trailer, and I love the Insane trilogy, and I'm getting more Crash Bandicoot. That makes me happy.
Playing with other characters, it's fun. That's cool and stuff.
Yeah.
Hitman trilogy is coming to the PSVR.
Yeah, so I am buying a PSVR for this. This is the game I've been waiting for. I will I want to make confirmation that PSVR works natively with PS5. Like, I don't want to have to buy like an upgraded version if I just buy this. So I'm going to wait and see for confirmation. But the Hitman games are so fun. Like, if you guys watched the video and you were part of one of the videos, like that game, like just the sandbox open world nature, just doing whatever you want, but in first person. And like, you put up the thing to strangle the guy. And I'm like, this seems so stupid and fun. And once I get that, there's the Iron Man VR, there's the Darth Vader VR, there's Super Hot VR. I'm like, I'm finally I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
The Half-Life VR.
Half-Life VR? That's not on PS4 though.
Oh, man.
So that sucks. Oh, I might just get the more expensive one for PC then. We'll find out.
Vader Immortal is coming to the PSVR as well, like you alluded to. I don't know what that game was. That game looks awesome.
Yes, I have not heard the best reviews of it. It looks cool, but that may be more of like the VR not being good, not so much the story being bad.
Right. And then they announced a new game, Hood, Outlaws, and Legends.
Yeah, this reminds me, there's a game called For Honor. It's about like samurais fighting knights and stuff like that. Yeah.
Max says, waiting to play Legacy of Vader VR, yeah?
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Hopefully it's good. This Robin Hood game, it looks like it's a multiplayer Robin Hood adventure game. Like, they didn't show much gameplay.
Oh, is that what that was? I didn't get it at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a Robin Hood game.
Yeah, it's a Robin Hood game. Multiplayer. I don't know if it's like Destiny. I hope not everything needs to be like Destiny.
If the gameplay is fun, I'd rather play a Robin Hood game than see another Robin Hood movie.
True. Yeah.
And then they had some new gameplay trailers for Bugsnax.
Yes. I didn't show you this one, but man, that just looks like another really charming game. I didn't know it was a first person. That threw me for a loop. But that game, this looks like utterly charming. It's the guys who made Octodad, and that game is just mad silly. So this looks cute.
Godfall.
Third person action adventure.
Forgot to watch that one actually.
It looks fine. It looks fine.
Okay. The Pathless.
The Pathless. That's the one. That's the one where you're running with the eagle. It looks like a cool indie game.
Yeah. Like I got very much
Journey.
What's that one? Journey.
Yeah.
I got Aeon Must Die.
Which one was this one?
I don't remember. I think I stopped watching this one. So I wasn't interested in that one.
Where does Aeon Must Die?
I don't know. I think I didn't watch this one either. Shit.
I was like, wait, I don't think I saw this one.
What's the next one?
Anno Mutationum.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a side-scroller one. That looks really good.
That had Evangelion vibes at the end.
Yeah. And then Genshin Impact.
Vibes at the end.
Oh, we should have watched this trailer. This one's a cool one. It's another retro side-scroller, but it's all cyberpunk and robotic.
Oh, dope.
It's cool. It looks cool.
And Genshin Impact. What one was that one?
This is it's an open world RPG. Ben, it looks like a Tales game. Look up the trailer for this game, Genshin Impact. It looks like
Genshin Impact. Yeah, because I missed Anno Mutationum, however you say that, and Genshin Impact. And also, I need to look up Blasphemous because I saw Blasphemous on sale.
Oh, is that the anime one? Is this one the anime one?
Which one?
Yes, it's the JRPG.
Yeah.
Okay. That looked
right. The girls have bunny ears. Yeah. Looks like a Japanese RPG. All right.
I'm into it.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of Japanese, Blazing Samurai is coming. The remake of Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah.
The Mel Brooks classic.
Weird.
Align is the company doing this one. They announced the Blazing Saddles remake, Blazing Samurai. Mel Brooks is involved.
Okay.
It follows a dog named Hank who dreams of becoming a samurai. When he becomes in charge of protecting Kakamucho, he learns that the town is populated entirely by cats. So, not really Blazing Saddles, but kind of Blazing Saddles.
It's more Zootopia, but still tackling like racism. Clearly, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's directed by Mark Coetzee. Yeah. And produced by Rob Minkoff, who is the director of Lion King. This stars Michael Cera, Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky Gervais, George Takei, Michelle Yeoh, Jimon Hansu, and Mel Brooks.
No, this is like actually really happening.
Yeah, this is happening.
I mean, like if Mel Brooks is involved and they want to tell another, like, I don't even know what. I don't know, man.
I really like Blazing Saddles.
Good idea. It's a good idea at all, and I don't want it.
You could do a Zootopia with samurais, but you're doing Blazing Saddles is like a rated R movie. Where the white women at? Like what? What? Is this going to be an adult animated thing, or is this like?
I really. Oh
I
god,
don't think so.
Like I don't. I'm confused.
How
I mean,
they gonna do
you tone down the racism. Like you don't have Mel Brooks go, "What? Don't you know this man is a neh?"
Yeah, you can't say. Don't you know he's a cat? Like
I really wonder if someone like takes a sword and goes "Tsh," and is like, yeah, but my sword hand is this hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wonder.
Wow, I hate it. You really make me hate it. I didn't like it. I actively hate it.
I don't even know how to feel. I think
that's so weird.
I don't know what it actually looks like and sounds like, because like I'm not into it right now.
This is an idea. Sounds like a really bad starting point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's like Blazing Saddles, but with dogs and cats, and
Can I
playing
tell you why?
Japan
Can I tell you
with
why?
samurais.
Can I tell you why? It's because Blazing Saddles actually had something to say about racism. And either this is going to say the exact same thing, or it's not going to say anything at all. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you just do something where you're trying to originally say something about racism through the euphemism of cats and dogs? That's fine.
Zootopia.
But this sounds like this will be neither of those things. It will either be exactly the same or not.
Where the white cat's at?
Both of those sound pointless and stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm more bummed out that Mel's involved or that he's not involved. Like I don't know what would be worse.
Also, Mag said something about the Aeon game being in trouble because it's apparently stolen. I don't know. We'd have to look into that.
Oh shit, that sucks.
Oh.
The game looks cool. That sucks.
You know what doesn't suck? John Wick.
You're right, Hundo.
John Wick 5 has been announced, and it will shoot back to back. It will shoot back to back with John Wick 4.
That's exciting because we've all seen John Wick 3. It ends.
No, I haven't.
I forgot you haven't seen John Wick 3.
I haven't seen John Wick.
So I'm not gonna spoil John Wick 3, but it feels like a trilogy. Like it's gonna start like another trilogy or whatever. Like that's the plan. So shooting 4 and 5 back to back makes sense, and then end with a 6. You got that show still in production. Like they're still writing that show. So give me more Wick, baby. I'm about it.
We'll see how this one does. And then A24 has announced that it will produce a series based on the online animated pilot Has Been Hotel.
Right.
Yep.
So cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is really cool. A friend of the podcast, John Radley, shared this with me a while ago. I should have shared it with you guys, especially you, Ryan. It's very much up your alley. It is just a pilot episode sitting around on YouTube. Nobody was required to watch it to talk about it this week. It's 30 minutes. It's worth your time. This is very good news.
Yeah.
The
original pilot was created by Vivian Medrano.
It's a musical?
And has been viewed over 41 million times.
And I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I have seen clips of it online, and the clips I have seen of it are actually kind of funny. And the art style is just bonkers. I have no idea what the show is about, but I am glad that these people. But I did know that it was a very small team, and this was a passion project of theirs. And I'm glad that this is getting picked up.
A24.
Yeah, the whole pilot is good.
A24 normally makes like. Do they do? Yeah, do they? Is this like their first TV thing?
I don't think so.
At least not like we've talked about it.
Yes.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
I'm happy about it. That's cool. Like they're not just about sad like melodramas.
Yeah, and the art style for the show is actually pretty cool. I have to admit, it's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
This is good news.
And then, yeah, Christopher Eccleston is returning to the role of the Doctor.
Where?
Audio.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Christopher Eccleston, as Doctor Who fans will know, does the 9th Doctor. Only lasted a season because he had a shit time working on the project. He didn't come back for the 50th anniversary because Stephen Moffat lied to him. I'll forever take that to my grave.
He also had just like bad. He's talked about it openly recently that he had a whole lot of bad juju he was carrying around related to Doctor Who, and he wasn't really into going back until like this recent year when he started going to like fan conventions, and he said it revived him. It's like
a William Shatner. Like he was like, oh, I don't want to deal with these people, and then he's like, nah, you're all right, okay.
Yeah. He like I said, he famously wouldn't come back, but he will be returning for the Big Finish audio plays. Big Finish has been doing Doctor Who audio plays forever. They bring back the past Doctors to keep them alive, keep them going. The Paul McGann ones are awesome because Eighth Doctor rules. And Eccleston will return for 12 new audio adventures released in 4 volumes.
Hell yeah.
Which everybody is like, okay, so if he said he's doing this, he's probably showing up somewhere in the Time Lord Victorious audio pieces now.
He's got to show up more.
They haven't all been announced yet, so.
And I thought, and these were not mentioned to be the Time Lord Victorious stuff.
These are their own thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop about saying he's going to do Time Lord Victorious, because there is a book announced already, which is the first book to involve Paul McGann's Doctor, David Tennant's Doctor, and Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, coming out near the end of the year, beginning of next year. And that is just a book at the moment, and there's more titles that haven't been announced, but everybody's assuming that there will be some more audio plays, and Eccleston may now be part of it.
The Time Lord Victorious thing? I know this is like the multimedia thing. Is there also like television stuff involved?
No.
That stinks.
Yeah.
It is comics, novels, audio dramas, and escape room experience.
McDonald's play toy.
Everything but getting them all to come back for a television show.
I mean, that's cool
especially which is actually working to their benefit, especially in light of the coronavirus.
Yes.
Is all this other stuff is stuff they can actually do.
Yeah.
Chris Eccleston only had this to say about coming back. He says, after 15 years, it will be exciting to revisit the Ninth Doctor's world, bringing back to life a character I love playing. So,
yeah, man.
Very cool.
Was he everyone's? No, Brandon. Did you watch Doctor Who before that? Because he was my first Doctor.
He was my first Doctor.
Okay. He was my first as well.
That was the jumping on point, yeah.
He was sort of my second, but pretty much my first that I dedicatedly started watching Doctor Who.
Because your parents had seen Doctor Who, the classic series.
Correct, and some of it had been on when I was a kid, but I wasn't super aware of it. Most of it was the 5th Doctor.
Yeah. Brandon gave me the DVDs to watch of the 9th Doctor our freshman year of college.
Yeah. Who is real quickly around the horn, who's your favorite Doctor? Do you have a favorite Doctor, Ben? You've only seen like 2.
David Tennant. I have seen a few episodes of David Tennant. I absolutely love his charisma on screen.
Sparks, do you have a favorite Doctor?
Yeah, it's David Tennant.
It's David Tennant. Like I wanna revisit the
Matt Smith.
No, the old guy. What's his name again?
Capaldi.
Yeah, because I remember really digging like him being completely different.
Capaldi came into his own.
Yeah,
sure.
like him like being like a rock star with like glasses. Like I like that approach. But like he's dope.
Paul McGann is my favorite. 8th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I really like those audio adventures, and they really connected with me.
I mean, I like Chris. I mean, okay, by default, I really like Christopher Eccleston because he's the only Doctor I've actually seen from beginning to end as his run.
It's only 13 episodes.
Yeah, I know, but then the few episodes I have seen of David Tennant's Doctor, I'm like, David Tennant's the man.
I don't want to go.
Okay. Trailers, guys.
T-Talk.
We're in the trailer park.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Woo, baby, America!
This looks really good. I'm very excited for this.
This is an intense trailer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the Black Panther group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in this because nowadays, we're reevaluating our history in regards to the African American plight. I've always heard the Black Panthers were terrorists, domestic terrorists, but now I'm like,
no, it's really great that we're letting people come in and tell stories that are more authentic and not so propaganda-esque to make you think a particular way, but be more representative of what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
More diverse.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes.
And Lakeitha Stanford. Stanford? Yeah.
Lakeith? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I like both those guys.
Yeah, because I remember bits of my history class, and when we did talk, and when they did mention the Black Panthers, I don't know if I'm misremembering or what, but I remember the Black Panthers in my history book kind of being vilified a little bit. And then
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
They're radical.
Everything.
Radical.
Yeah. And then, of course, I watched that John Oliver episode on U.S. history. It's like, oh.
We don't need to get into it.
No, we don't.
How screwed up our history curriculum is.
No, we don't. But this movie does look really, really good.
Yeah. I'm thinking of ending things.
Guys,
what is this movie?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I meant the movie. I'm thinking of anything. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
I know what you meant.
Charlie Kaufman is a crazy person, and I mean that in the best way, because that dude's made nothing but insane movies.
So
I've seen only two of his. I've only seen two of his movies.
So
is one of them Eternal Sunshine?
Adaptation.
Adaptation's great with Nick Cage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I really like that movie.
Yeah, I've only seen Eternal Sunshine, and when I saw it's like, from the director of Eternal Sunshine, I'm like, oh, so this is probably a fun movie, because when she's talking about her boyfriend, I'm like, oh, this is probably gonna be like a really bad drawn out dramedy of how she's trying to break up with her boyfriend, and then the dog kept shaking, and then the mom keeps laughing, and then other stuff happens. I'm like, what direction is this going? I am very uncomfortable. I want off this right now, please.
I think you need to revisit Eternal Sunshine.
I think I do.
Also, Brandon, you would really like Being John Malkovich.
I've seen Being John Malkovich.
There you go.
I have seen Being John Malkovich. That movie's awesome.
There's a movie he wrote and directed called Synecdoche, New York, that stars Philip Seymour Hoffman. That is a movie about a man putting on a play about the entire world, and he has built an entire city for his play. It is one of the most wild movies you will ever see. It is worldwide theater. It is nuts. This dude is a cerebral filmmaker. Like I don't know what's going on in this trailer. Like they explain like time is happening to them. It's not the same as like time going through a thing.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this.
It visually looks so crazy.
I love it. It's so I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. Really love the look of it. Let's give shout outs to Jesse Clemens.
Jesse Clemens, he's in two trailers.
He's in both of these trailers. Good for him. Getting good work after game night.
Yeah.
No way. Tell me about it.
I could be misremembering, but was Jesse Clemens, he's the white guy, right? The blonde guy? Okay. Yeah. Was he also in the final season of Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Okay.
He's also the main star of El Camino.
I have watched El Camino. Because I watched it, was like, oh, that's the guy from Breaking Bad, the guy who says you should have come, who has the crush on what's her name, and then gets screwed and then screws over Walter White.
Stop.
No spoilers, buddy.
Go ahead, Brandon.
That show's been out for how long?
Doesn't matter.
I haven't seen El Camino yet either. So
this is always your logic that you're like, I can just say it because it's been out for a while. It doesn't matter who hears it. They've probably all seen it, and that's how you ruined Batman Returns for me. Yeah. So Brandon, go ahead.
The Owners, starring Maisie Williams and the seventh Doctor himself, Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah. This is what was it described as, or like what is this like similar to?
Villains.
Kind of like more.
Yeah, it's
British villains.
It's hello villains. Yeah, it's I like Maisie Williams. I like all the actors in here. They seem kooky as hell.
This is definitely a more. No, this because when I was watching this trailer, this was definitely a more horror version of Villains.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought this looks pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like a good time.
Hoops.
It looks like a comedy basketball show.
I don't know.
It's another adult comedy show that looks exactly like
all
that.
These shows look the same by now.
I watch a lot of cartoons, adult or not, and nothing about this looks special compared to others.
Yeah. I did see when this trailer came out. I think it is because it looks kind of like nothing really popped about it being like quality. A lot of people are like, wow, all of adult animation now looks like this, and I hate it. And I'm like, I don't. It's not all of it, but I see it.
This looks like some mishmash, like Venn diagram in between Family Guy, Rick and Morty, and Big Mouth. Yeah, and it's somewhere just in that circle, and it's like, no, it's kind of true.
Yeah,
I don't
tall
love that.
People, they all kind of
That's Star Trek Lower Decks also. I will argue that if done right, it actually becomes a lot more expressive than traditional animation. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of fun to play with, but sometimes it's not done right.
But also, that show has Star Trek and space and aliens. Hoops is about a bunch of kids playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look the same.
The most recent, I say, because I haven't seen all of the newest season of Rick and Morty yet, but the best adult animation show I've seen most recently was Close Enough.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. And that at least has its own style. Mm-hmm. Close Enough doesn't look like these shows we're talking about.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like regular show.
No, it's. I mean,
no, I know exactly, but it doesn't look like other things. It looks unique.
Looking at the trailer for Hoops, actually, after when I was done, I scrolled down a little bit, and there was a thumbnail for a video that said Netflix is now a joke, and it had this character on it, and because when I first watched it, like this looks like so many other adult animated shows that I'm aware of.
Are you sure it wasn't from the Netflix account? Netflix is a joke.
I don't know.
account. Yeah, no, there's an account to the joke.
I just saw the thumbnail. I didn't look into it. I mean, of course, this is only the trailer. The show could actually be really funny.
I got plenty of other shit to watch.
The trailer didn't spark anything for me.
If you didn't suck me in, I got plenty of other things I want to watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Raised by Wolves. Ridley Scott's.
Like Raised by Wolves.
Oh, so yeah, that's another thing that threw me for a loop because but name alone is like, oh, Raised by Wolves. Are there gonna be wolves? No, we're in space. We're in space, fool.
This is Ridley Scott's TV show for Apple TV Plus.
I thought
it was HBO Max.
HBO Max. You're right. HBO Max.
This would have been based on something because it looks radical. This looks like, yo, man, Ridley Scott, do what you want, and he found this cool graphic novel. No, this is original. This looks sick, you guys. This looks so cool. I hope it's not Prometheus where it's style over substance. I hope it's not.
Me too.
Man, the style is wicked. It's about androids trying to raise people, and I'm like, what?
No, I'm super excited. I can't wait until the third season where it's all connected to Alien and Prometheus. But it looks great.
Yeah. Man, it sold me so hard, and I'm like, man, because Westworld's gone, and I got some people trying to be people vibes, robots trying to be people vibes, and I'm like, so many weird things are going on in the show. I'm so in.
Yeah. We talked about a lot of prestige shows looking like film quality.
Yeah,
this looked like a movie.
This looked good.
Yeah, this looked like a movie. And I'm like,
my mouth was dropped watching this on this big nice TV.
I actually thought this was a straight up film, and then it said a series. I'm like, no freaking way.
HBO Max, baby. Giving Ridley that sweet cheddar.
The Boys season 2 released their final trailer. It looks like.
I hope so because I'm not watching any more trailers.
I can't.
Neither am I. I'm done.
After
this trailer, I'm done. I need to watch that show.
Man, it still looks really good.
I'm so happy for the actress playing Stormfront. She's so good.
Yeah. I just want it. I'm again, like, I'm not generally a binge guy, but like I love The Boys, and I just want to be in that world more. And I'm so excited. It comes out in like a month, right? Yeah.
Yep. I'm very excited.
And we know season 3 is happening no matter what. So once the virus is over or whatever.
The boys themselves put out a social media message where they're like, "Look, if you want season 3, wear a damn mask." So
there you go.
to go away. No, there isn't.
Listen to the heroes. Yeah.
I don't know if Homelander were to show up and say, "Hey, wear a mask." I don't want to get lasered. I don't want my brain to get lasered.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Do you want your boobs lasered?
No, I don't.
This trailer.
I don't want my boobs lasered either.
Right between the tits.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, so that's it. Anything else we want to bring up before we move into our topic?
No, I'm so excited for The Boys. I'm so excited for Raised by Wolves.
A lot of good trailers this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into our main topic. We've been dancing around it a lot, talking about it a bit when we can.
Both on podcast and off podcast.
Dancing.
Yeah, and all our heroes are monsters. So how do you contend? We're gonna just talk about like how do we ourselves and what recommendations we could.
Yeah, this is not based around us doing a whole bunch of research into like who did what and that kind of thing. That's not what we're doing. We are talking just about a simple question of how do you enjoy art made with or by people who you now know are not great, or truly shitty, or horrendously terrible, or monsters.
So I always kind of make the thing where like, if it's a movie set, if the director's a monster, like, okay, but I'm personally, by boycotting that, not going to hurt the director. I'm going to hurt the people who get the money off the back end. You could contend like that. Like that's my way of excusing some of that.
I think it goes even beyond that. Like not just like, oh, who are your actions hurting? Because this came around when Ender's Game came out as a film. Right. A lot of people wanted to boycott that movie. I knew people in my life who are queer.
Orson Scott Card.
Personally, who were like, I'm not going to go see that movie. You shouldn't go see that movie. I didn't end up seeing that movie, but it wasn't because of this. I'm going to boycott that hardcore. And I'm like, look, honestly, Orson Scott Card isn't hurt by that. You're not, and the book and the film are not about gay people.
Yeah.
Orson Scott Card has really terrible, atrocious opinions about gay people, but it's not in the book. Not like a focal point, and not something they were doing with the film. So I'm like, this is punishing other people who put in hard work.
I should have sent you guys this video because Lindsay Ellis very recently made a long video about this exact topic. And I so wish I
watched it.
It's been a long time, and I have a terrible memory. But she recently wrote a sci-fi book, and she is End of this Game is like her favorite book. She is so inspired by Orson Scott Card, but she has to come to the fact that dude's a bad dude, and did some of that bad influence come into that book and also influence her? No, it didn't, because she can read past it or work past it, right?
Yeah,
but every person has to work on their own. Yeah.
She put it up in the wake of the J.K. Rowling stuff. J.K. Rowling coming out very actively against trans people.
Oh boy.
Right. I was in the middle of something.
Sorry.
So what I was saying is that there's the like punish them, boycott them, cost them money angle that you can take on some of these things if they're more directly involved. But I think even beyond that is that you are totally allowed to appreciate the work of the other artists at hand. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people make a film, not just one person.
Yeah.
I can watch any Kevin Spacey movie or show, and I'm not going to feel like a piece of shit about it because Kevin Spacey didn't do every single thing related to that project.
Yeah.
I can recognize and associate the fact that Kevin Spacey is not a good person. He's done shitty things, and I can acknowledge and be aware of that. But I can also watch American Beauty and be aware he didn't, like a whole lot of other people put hard work into that.
Yeah. That being said, I'm not going out of my way anytime soon to watch a Kevin Spacey-led movie.
No, for sure.
But, it goes that way too. But like,
but I wouldn't avoid it like the plague.
No, yeah.
If someone came up to me and recommended a project that he was in, that I hadn't seen yet, honestly, like I never got around to House of Cards. I'm not I'm not going to watch it because of him. I still would like to one day tackle it.
It's really good.
Because I've heard good things about it, and I'm like, I will do it because there's a lot of other people that put the hard work in.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay Ellis talked about in that video that we were just referencing, because in the wake of the J.K. Rowling stuff, like with J.K. Rowling is slightly different because she is so involved in the post life of that book with the movies.
Yeah.
She writes the new movies.
Pottermore.
Yeah.
She is
Harry Potter.
She is Harry Potter, and so like. By supporting Harry Potter, you are kind of endorsing her in a way that you aren't in other people.
Yeah, Lindsay Ellis made a thing of like sometimes like in case of Harry Potter, do you stop liking Harry Potter? Maybe. I know that's a hard thing for a lot of people to want to do. Like Harry Potter is so fundamental to so many people. Like I'm not that tied to Harry Potter anymore. When I was younger, I loved Harry Potter.
Sure.
But like I couldn't imagine like my favorite thing like being so encompassed by an evil person. I couldn't like. How do you tackle that? Like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It is.
Go ahead, Ben.
Now to get on the whole J.K. Rowling thing, I remember seeing a post a while ago about how you could still support like the Harry Potter community, but not support J.K. Rowling. Like instead of buying the books, because as much as my collection it's complete, but it's mixed match. Like. So, because I want to have a nice uniform collection, so don't buy the books, but instead, like maybe go read Harry Potter fan fiction. Like go.
Well, so that's the thing that Lindsay Ellis was talking about, because by doing stuff like that, even though they are created by the people, because she is so intrinsically tied to Harry Potter, you are enforcing that brand that belongs to her, and it so actively does belong to her, no matter which place you go to consume Harry Potter media, be it her or not. You are endorsing her.
Right. Okay.
In a sense.
Yeah. No. It's again. I'm not making this political. I promise. But it's the comparison of like you're not racist, but you're a Trump supporter.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be racist, but you're condoning it.
Yeah.
It's a situation.
But
like
I think
that.
so. I want to say like I think that gets really sticky, and I don't think that that's the tack that we should have, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic.
Yeah.
Because I think once you cross that line, and J.K. Rowling makes that line really hard, but once you cross the line to saying like, oh, you know, like you're still supporting or like Harry Potter in spite of J.K. Rowling, you're bad. If that if that becomes the equivalent, because like there's people who like are deeply moved or inspired by Harry Potter, who have tattoos on their body.
I almost have one.
You can't just go, now you're a shitty person.
Yeah.
Because they're a shitty person. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
So you can still have your, like in a hypothetical world where George Lucas tomorrow was revealed to be a pedophile.
Yeah.
In a hypothetical world where that happened, I don't just suddenly hate all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, again, like I know that's a movie and not a book, but I mean, you could argue that so much of Star Wars is so deeply and intrinsically connected to George Lucas it's a similar kind of argument that the universe is so expansive.
Yeah.
I want to be clear real quick. I know I came off this way, but I did not mean to sound so definite about it. It's just there is something to be said that J.K. Rowling is a slightly different case because she is so intrinsically tied to her brand.
No, I agree with that point. I'm more responding to the analogy Ryan was making, which is like, you're not racist, but you're a Trump supporter. And I think when you use that same kind of phrasing in a way that applies to this, that's painting somebody into a corner they shouldn't be in just for liking something.
No, that's
Right.
true.
And we could even go to the comics about this.
Yeah.
And we could go to
Warren Ellis.
even Van Sciver's things, and you can like the stuff that he worked on, and that doesn't mean you're a shitty person. It helps with it, but you have to recognize that there has to be room. And honestly, I don't know, and I can't think of any like painters off the top of my head, but if there were as I'm sure there's a painter who did some piece of work that I thought was incredibly moving, and I hung it up in my home, and then it turns out that person is a super disgusting, really horrible person. It doesn't change how the art moved me.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't change the impact that had, and that we, as people who are both creative and absorbers of things that are creative, are able to connect to something that is beyond what makes us not like each other. Like, this is no different than like if I met J.K. Rowling in real life, we probably wouldn't be friends. You know, it doesn't mean that I have to turn on everything that she created, because what you create isn't necessarily who you are.
May I give the kind of the opposite of what you're saying?
Yeah.
There on some level I do agree with you, but there is the kind of thing like Ethan Van Sciver is in a lot of a really seminal work for me. And let's even talk about that work a little bit. Jeff Johns. There are things coming out that are not going to put Jeff Johns in a good light.
Right.
You know, we are looking at a quote unquote cancel Jeff Johns, not to make this political, but it's coming. And because of what supposedly happened with Justice League, we don't know. But Green Lantern by Jeff Johns and started by Ethan Van Sciver, and again is in a lot of that book, is so important to me.
Yeah.
That it was very hard for me to kind of look at Green Lantern again for a little while after the Ethan Van Sciver thing. But now Jeff Johns, like, I don't know if in good conscience I can still support that thing. It's difficult for me.
I got one for you too. Warren Ellis, he wrote Transmetropolitan, which is one of the most influential, awesome independent books of all time. Like, and it's like it was one of the first like truly dope independent like heavy metal punk rock books. It's about a journalist and like how he doesn't care about the world. Warren Ellis wrote himself in that book a lot, and now people are reading that book again and seeing all the gross stuff that he put in that book. So it's less a situation where Jeff Johns wrote his bad stuff in that Green Lantern book. He didn't. Warren Ellis did write himself into that book, and now that book is tainted. Yeah. Even if the art's good, he's the writer, so I'm reading everything he wrote. I think that's a situation for me where I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to read that book again, because Warren Ellis clearly is the main character of this book. So,
and I think that's like, I think that's kind of the heart of it.
Yeah,
is that Harry Potter has issues. This is true. I would not say that Harry Potter is like overall harmed by J.K. Rowling's beliefs. Not as a whole. Not the entirety of Harry Potter. There's definitely pieces. Yeah. There's definitely pieces.
She's heard it more after than during.
Yeah. But she did not put these things that we now know to be really shitty about her into the books. That art is separate from it. And I think that's where it becomes key, is that when you do the work and you educate yourself about what's up with the person, whether someone tells you or you already knew, so you look into it and you're aware, oh, these are the issues, this is how I feel about it. You go in informed.
Yeah.
When you return to the art or experience the art for the first time. But you can still acknowledge that I am not supporting the beliefs, right? Yeah. Of what she's saying, because that's not what the book is about. The book is not about trans women shouldn't be allowed. Right. It's not that in Harry Potter. And as long as that's the case, you're not supporting that belief system. I understand that it gets weird where like you know on some level if you were like buying the books new or something, you're giving money to J.K. Rowling, and that's kind of your own personal thing. However you want to deal with that. I'm more thinking about like how you enjoy art you've already enjoyed.
Right. I do want to bring up like the idea that it's okay to be the opposite of what I'm saying. Also, to just be like, if you can't support that thing for any reason, if you can't consume it because it's been tainted, like, you know, that's okay. I honestly think that's okay. Like, if you just can't connect with that art on that same level anymore.
Yes, I think that's totally fine. Like, that is a personal matter between you, the art, and then the artist to an extended circumstance. That's totally fine. What I don't think is okay is for us to blacklist anybody who still will go around and sit in a coffee shop and read Harry Potter.
No,
you know, or you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't you can't like go up to the person and be like, don't you know what she said? And then start an argument about that and then be upset with them. And I think that's the line. But what Ryan was saying about Warren Ellis's book, that's the exception of this kind of thing that I'm talking about. When they have put themselves in and you see it, even if you didn't see it before, and you're like, oh, this is all of these things I don't like. That's when it crosses into, okay, I understand not supporting that art.
Yeah,
I understand not wanting to associate with that.
There's a, oh man, it's so gross knowing now that all this stuff's come out, but he wrote the X-Men for a bit, and Kitty Pryde was a teenager, and he aged Kitty Pryde up to like 17 years old, so she can be in a relationship with the creator-owned character he made. And that's just like, just putting himself in that character, in that thing again, and it's like, oh man, it was always there. It was always there. And it's stuff like that's like, it's, man, that work is gross now, and it sucks.
Yeah, there is the argument where you kind of look at it like, you know, I've consumed this already, and by not further giving them my support, that's how I feel better, and you know that's okay too. Like, for example, Max Landis. Yeah, you know, Max Landis for a long time has been an asshole. We've known it for a long time. So, Superman American Alien, it's a great book.
It is.
Green Valley, great book.
I mean,
he's a shit person.
I have American Alien. That was, Brad, you got this for me as a birthday present. I love this book. Yeah. I can easily say he's a shitty person. And something that I also want to toss in here is another how artists are remembered maybe after the fact. And one of the reasons why I put this up is there's a comedian I listen to quite a bit. It's really funny. He's an Australian comedian, goes by the persona of Randy Feltface. He's a purple puppet. You've probably seen him online somewhere. But he did this great bit on Ernest Hemingway, where in about 3.5 minutes essentially told the entire life story of Ernest Hemingway, and at the end of it said, Ernest is mostly remembered for his literary works and not how much of a shit person he is.
You know, now, of course, a really good example of like, you know, you could take everything as like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I mean, now in the age of technology that we live in today, more stuff can come out easier and stuff is more cemented and people have longer memories. Whereas, of course, back in Hemingway's time, when more stuff is revealed, it's either at the end of his career or long after he's dead. And yet his books, like For Whom the Bell Tolls, are still being taught in schools and still considered literary masterpieces, even though with an absolute shit of a person. But
you got to look at like, you know, in those cases, if you want to look at it like on a case-by-case basis, in those cases, you should look at the time period this was in.
Yeah.
And personally, I always kind of feel like there's a certain level of forgiveness that can be given to prejudices of the time in order to enjoy a work of art.
I still want to read up how the hell he got away with
it. Wait. Sparks, what'd you say?
I think one of the most famous ones we can point to is Lovecraft.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Lovecraft is staple all over everything, and he's a horrendous racist.
Dude, reading Lovecraft Country, that entire book is about a young black man who loves H.P. Lovecraft and is tackling with Lovecraft's racism. Like that's what the entire book's about. And I'm like, yo, that's like a perfect topic because I love H.P. Lovecraft.
And not only is it horrible. Like the stuff, his own original stuff, he inspired so much other stuff. Like it's hard to get away from Lovecraft's influence at a certain extent. And you kind of just have to embrace that, like, you got that, even though you got the shitty person side. And that's why I feel like it's so very key to, I think that, we need to always allow the wiggle room of your encounter with the art is different from your encounter with the artist. They're not the same thing, even when the art is really closely tied. I'll even go as far as Ryan's example about Warren Ellis with Transmetropolitan. If I decided I wanted to read that, that's still okay. it's still an experience. Like, I haven't. But if I decided to, it's still a matter of, like, be aware of what this is saying. Be aware of what has been said about Warren Ellis, what we know about Warren Ellis, and what he's conveying in that piece of art, and take something from it. Learn something from that. Yeah. That's all okay, too. Be inspired by it in some way. That's still okay. All of those things are okay. It is very much a personal taste matter. And I do think one thing I will say about when it comes to matters of supporting still artists like that, especially when it's really direct, like J.K. Rowling, if you wanted to buy a Harry Potter book or something, I think there's still a way to deal with that. And I think the way is
piracy.
You can buy the thing. You can buy the art. You want to buy the art, you can buy the art. That's fine. You can support that. If you feel that you guilty about doing that or bad about it, donate to a charity that exactly counters the beliefs you disagree with from the artist. You can do that. Super simple. The exact same amount of money, put it right into the pocket of someone who works right against what they believe in. And I think that's kind of the thing that you can accept doing that double duty if you're going to purchase that art and know that you're consciously supporting that.
And again, like when you start at the bottom of like books written by one person to comics made by like 3 or 4 people to TV shows to a dozen to movies to hundreds, like I think it gets a little easier because more people are involved, and like I want to support people who deserve to be supported.
Exactly.
It is a little bit harder for me to support Harry Potter when that is a JK baby. That's a JK baby.
Right.
But like I can see the next like Transformers movie and like, Michael Bay's a piece of shit or whatever, but like 1,000 people make that movie.
Right.
It's still gonna be a bad movie. You know, like I want to see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I look at like X-Men. I like the X-Men movies. I even like the Bryan Singer X-Men movies and the Brett Ratner X-Men movies. But well, no, I don't. I take that back. Last Stand's not good.
I'll say the one Brett Ratner.
the one.
Like, you know what?
Bryan Singer's
X2 is
terrible.
Hella cool.
Yeah.
That dude's a good bag. Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike. Every time she cracks her fingernails, so cool.
That movie is so good.
Yeah, but even like going back to Kevin Spacey earlier, I could still watch films like Superman Returns and A Bug's Life knowing that Kevin Spacey's a bad person. I'm not going to go out of my way. It's one of those things like, you know what, I feel like watching a Superman movie, or like, you know what, I feel like watching an old Pixar film that I grew up with.
Helps that he's a bad guy in those.
It does. It kind of does. But also going to this kind of reminds me back when, like, remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California?
Sure.
Apparently, Governor Schwarzenegger did some stuff because my dad worked for the state. He did some stuff that my dad didn't necessarily like, and he swore that he will never watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever again because of what that did. And I even thought that was kind of silly because I was like, so you're never gonna watch T2 again? You're never gonna watch Predator? You're never gonna watch all these other films that he's in? And even when he's out of office, he's only one actor, and there's like a bunch of other people working on this movie.
I will say, I understand what you're saying, and I agree for the most part of what you're saying. For me personally, I can't watch a Mel Gibson movie.
Yeah,
understandable.
And you know, Brandon, I'll tell you this. Up until recently, I was like, he said some really gross things like 15 years ago, right? And it looks like he might have gone better. He recently doubled down and said some extra shitty things. So the benefit of the doubt of him trying to become a better person is gone. So Mel Gibson sucks. I'm not going to go out of my way to see a lead movie by him because that dude has doubled down on being a piece of shit, like super racist. Like I thought that experience might have changed him, but no, that's just who he is. And I'm like, okay, sorry, Mel, I gave you a chance. Sorry, you suck. Yeah, it sucks.
But again, I look at that as like a case by case basis. You got to look at like how. Like does this person affect the way you connect with that artwork? And if it doesn't, then you know what, keep supporting that artwork. Now, but if it does, then I think it's okay to just be like, I can't.
Now, of course, if it's on a personal level, like you as a singular human being swore to yourself that you'll never see a movie that stars X actor for your personal reasons, and you're not forcing other people.
Real quick, it's always going to be on a personal level.
Okay,
that's kind of the point. Is that it should not matter beyond you. And what you feel and what you take in. Go ahead.
No, on your personal level, if you're saying, like, for example, say I'm never going to see a Mel Gibson movie again the rest of my life, be it an older film or a newer film, and other people talk about the movies, I was like, hey, if you want to watch it, that's fine. Me personally, I'm not going to see it. Cool. I'm not going to tell people, hey, you shouldn't watch that, because I mean, obviously we know our close circle of friends, but if it goes back to that thing of as long as you're not shoving your hardcore beliefs down other people's throats, as long as you're not being a dick about it, then okay.
But no, but the thing is, Ben, a lot of these people are being dicks. That's why we're talking about this.
But I think the thing is, it really depends on how close of a connection you have with that artist or creator. Because I think the more connection you have to a thing, the harder the hurt when it's revealed that they're a monster. Whereas for me, it's very easy for me to just write off Mel Gibson because I didn't care for him in the first place.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've got your perfect one right here. I really, really love Louis.
Louis, yeah, the show.
Louis. The show
Louis C.K.
Really, like, there are other people that work on it 100%, but it is very deeply tied to Louis C.K.
Yo, he writes and edits
every single episode. It is very much his show.
Yeah.
He did shitty things.
Yeah.
I can't defend them at all. They're crappy. I can't pretend that I don't think Louis is fantastic television. I can't pretend that I don't think that the black and white episode with Robin Williams is one of the best episodes of television I ever saw.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I have to acknowledge that, like, that art was moving. There is something beyond the shitty things that Louis C.K., and I can even see glimpses of those shitty things in the show in retrospect. Glimpses. But I can acknowledge that there is more to that person that he was speaking to in his art that did connect with me, and I still appreciate what that art provided. And I still want to go back at some point and revisit that art.
I will never forget in Louis.
And that's true. That's just what it is.
Louis is so good, and like the line of like you don't get to decide that you hurt someone. I will never forget that line for the rest of my life.
Right.
That is so real. Like, you don't get to decide if you hurt somebody.
Yeah.
That is so true. I love that. But also, yeah, like that dude was really inappropriate and really gross. The two are not mutually exclusive. Like, he can be a good writer, but also a bad guy.
Yeah, right. When you connect with an artist on a higher level, that's when I think it becomes the wrestling with yourself. Like, do I keep supporting this or do I not? Like, how do I feel about this? Like with me with Green Lantern, you know, like how do I wrestle that? I
got a thing. We didn't talk about it in the news because we didn't need to, but something happened with Jai Lee, one of my favorite artists.
Yes.
Jay Lee, he's worked with Evan Van Sciver before he was part of Comicsgate, right? They've worked together since the 90s because they're both like old artists, right? He did a cover for Jay Lee did a cover for a Comicsgate comic book.
Yeah.
And the internet went crazy, and Tom King, Jay Lee did a variant cover for Rorschach, the comic Rorschach coming out, right? Tom King immediately said, "Hey, I didn't know this thing about Jai Lee. I'm canceling this cover. It's just going to be the regular cover. I'm sorry about this," right? Jay Lee is not part of Comicsgate. Jay Lee has been off the internet for a long time. He's an older guy. His pet recently passed away, so he's been off social media for like weeks. So he didn't know about any of this shit. Yeah. So he's starting to get phone calls and emails how he's getting canceled and how he's losing sponsorships for something he has no idea about. So it's at the same time you gotta make sure you're doing your due diligence and making sure these people are the bad, because Jay Lee had to come out and say like, "Hey, my dog just died, and I'm getting phone calls about how I'm a racist." I don't know how this happened. So
he very specifically called out Tom King.
Yes, because again, like, and I was the same way. I immediately was like, "Oh, he did this. He's shitty." Like, I didn't do any research. Like, it was very hot-blooded because Jay Lee's drawn my favorite cover of all time. I had it signed by him. It's a Fantastic Four cover. That really hurt to think that he was that kind of person, and I didn't even look it up. So it's on us too to make sure that we're not targeting the wrong people, because like that poor guy went through some shit for 2 weeks that he did not deserve. That's real shitty.
And I that's a really great example. Yeah. I think there's something to be said for the fact that even when you do get into the world of films, we know Kevin Spacey's shitty. There's probably at least 7 other people that worked on a movie he was in who also were dirtbags. We're just never going to know because they're not public figures.
It's true.
I mean, like, that's the world. That's just the reality of it. Is that's how this goes.
In the Predators movie, Olivia Munn called out Shane Black in the newest Predator movie because Shane Black was working with a known sex offender who was his friend. And he did not tell anyone on the set. And Olivia Munn called him out, and that guy got fired, and his scene got cut from the movie. But without Olivia Munn making a stink about it, none of us would have known about that.
Right.
But that's somebody who you should know what kind of people are working on your set.
Yeah, it should.
And it's like,
but we as the public aren't going to be privy to that
no,
kind
we're
of
not.
information.
Yeah.
There's an amount where like shitty people are in the world and you kind of can't do anything about it, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
Art is just what it is. It's art. No film is ever a singular vision. No matter what Martin Scorsese might try to tell you, it's never the case. Nothing except even coming down to a book is the closest you get to a person's singular vision. But let's be honest, there's an editor. There are sometimes publishing press that's involved that give opinions. It is formed out of inspirations from other works. Nothing is ever truly on its own.
Mm-hmm. Nothing exists in a vacuum.
Exactly. And so it's okay to treat art like it isn't created in a vacuum.
Yes.
Which means that when you're embracing it and you're appreciating it, or you're just experiencing it, you have the opportunity to acknowledge there's some shitty things around this. That doesn't mean you can't appreciate the good things in it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think on that note, I will read real quick some of what Daniel Radcliffe said in a quote with the Trevor Project in response to what J.K. Rowling was said, because I thought Daniel Radcliffe said the best response to any of this that has happened. To all the people who now feel that their experience of the books has been tarnished or diminished, I am deeply sorry for the pain these comments have caused you. I really hope that you don't entirely lose what was valuable in these stories to you. If these books taught you that love is the strongest force in the universe, capable of overcoming anything, if they taught you that strength is found in diversity and that dogmatic ideas of pureness lead to the oppression of vulnerable groups, if you believe that a particular character is trans, non-binary, or gender fluid, or that they are gay or bisexual, if you found anything in these stories that resonate with you and helped you at any time in your life, then that is between you and the book that you read, and it is sacred. And in my opinion, nobody can touch that. It means to you what it means to you, and I hope that these comments will not taint that too much.
I love that.
And I think that's exactly what it should be. It is all about you and the experience with the art. The artist is not relevant to that experience.
It's true.
You can be informed about it. You can go into it and understand. And I recommend it. I recommend always understanding the perspective of someone who you disagree with, or who people are saying shitty things about, and they've created something that you are enjoying. Know where they're coming from, why people are upset with them. But really, end of the day, it's about what that art means to you. And it's just about that. That is a separate creation from them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just also want to add that, if you can no longer enjoy that thing because of the creator, because of the major creative force, depending on what it is, that I think that is also okay. That is, it's a personal decision that you need to come to terms with yourself, and that it is, no matter which way you choose, the right decision.
Yes, it is about your experience with that thing, whether that art can be removed or not. That is for you. We're saying the same thing. It's all a matter of what crosses the line. What can you take away from it? What does it taint? That all comes down to it. But I think the ultimate thing, like a lot of people I know in my life over the years, as more and more things have come out, Kevin Spacey, Weinstein, JK, have wrestled with how can I still appreciate that? And I'm like, well, if it's just a matter of if you're wrestling it with it like that, that means there's something so good in it you wanted to be able to still appreciate it, and you want to go back to it. And I encourage you to reevaluate and go back to it and think about, are all the good things in here worth me understanding the shitty things about the creator and still loving this thing?
Yeah.
Because shitty people can make cool things. That's also just true. It sucks, but really shitty people can make really beautiful things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was watching Lord of the Rings this past few weeks. The executive producer credit came up, and it had Harvey Weinstein up there. And both Fan and I were like, boo! Like, we booed his name, but he was executive producer. He just helped fund the movie. It's Peter Jackson's.
He could be a good businessman and be a gross monster at the same time.
Oh, totally.
Look at,
Totally. But that's Peter Jackson's film. All the actors, everyone else who worked on it, that's their baby. And that's one of the best cinematic achievements of all time.
It's true, baby.
I mean, yes, his name is attached to it. It's not tarnishing that trilogy for me.
Not at all.
And he's also not the creative force in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing.
He just made the money happen.
He just gave him money and said, do your thing, make your fantasy, whatever.
I mean, it's like Quentin Tarantino. Most of Quentin Tarantino's movies are produced by Harvey Weinstein.
But they're Tarantino's films.
And also, I think what is a unfortunate reality, but is true, is let's say, for example, I'd already seen it before this happened, but if anyone wanted to watch it, Kevin Spacey did a whole thing where he talked about just like his acting career in House of Cards. It was like a little documentary. It's called like Shakespeare Now on the Stage of Richard the Third. Yeah. And it's Kevin Spacey talking about how House of Cards kind of led to him playing this role in Richard III, which I saw him do it live. It was really cool. I can acknowledge that. It was a really cool performance. And if you wanted to watch that really is just Kevin Spacey telling you stuff. You can still glean something valuable from listening to the perspective of someone that's crap. Someone that's really shitty.
Yeah. You know, for example, I can still watch the Santa Claus. It's Tim Allen.
Yeah, but I mean, he's I get you. Yeah, that's true.
Tim Allen was in Red Belt for 5 minutes. The movie I watched
Really?
this week. 5 minutes. Yeah, he plays an aging Hollywood action star. Could you believe that?
Wow. Okay. I'm about spent on this one. You got anything else we wanted to add?
Yeah, that was nice. That was good. I recommend. We talked about it earlier, but check out that Lindsay Ellis video. She is the smartest person on YouTube, probably. Yeah. She knows if you want like a super detailed, awesome thing.
I think if I were to just like slide it all down into one simple thing, it's just if art speaks to you, don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
True.
Unless it speaks to you in the wrong way.
Yes.
No, I don't feel bad about it. All right, but Sparks, it's your turn in the book club.
Oh yeah, we do that.
We sure do.
We're doing The Wilds by Vita Ayala. It's a little 5-issue thing.
I'm gonna find the artist. Hold on.
Thank you, because I wasn't prepared.
No, you're good.
I didn't do my homework.
Did you read the book?
Did you read it?
No, but I'm gonna wing it. Yeah, I did. Megan just gave me a dirty glare. This is about a virus that got inside people's lungs, and it made bad things happen, and the world ended. And
wait, I got a great quote. It was a crisis, but then again, so is everything else on the news these days. The sickness was water cooler talk, but nothing serious, right? The president would say something if it was serious.
Right, exactly. And
this was written 2 years ago.
And
I don't remember. I don't know what you guys are referring to. Why is this so relevant?
It's gone to his brain.
Just the opening of the book, and then
well, what about when the person says like wear a mask or something? Like we always wear a mask. Like I don't see why that was so relevant. I don't get it.
No, I don't.
Emily Pearson is the artist.
Thank you. Who's the artist on the back issues?
Oh,
the back of the issues.
Good. You're right.
Thank you.
There's 5 different artists on the back issues.
So there's all those artists are worthy of praise. Yeah.
Hey guys,
Plant people in the apocalypse.
Have you ever heard of The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Plant people in the apocalypse.
Plant people.
Story about a runner named Daisy and
Daisy Walker
and all the things that are happening to her on this particularly not good week. Guys, thoughts?
Okay, so it is so The Last of Us. It's not even funny.
It is.
Not just in terms of the idea, but some of the plot points are so The Last of Us. I would be shocked if she never played it because it's very similar. It's very similar. I think this book's fine. I think it's a pretty okay book.
I kind of struggled to get through it because I did think it was just fine. Like there wasn't really anything that grabbed me in it. The art I did kind of like. I like the designs of the abominations, as they call them.
I did too. I thought the abomination designs were really cool. In a lot of other art that I found, all right.
Yeah. I just the character designs. They have like weird like lines going on their faces that it took me a while to get used to, but I kind of ended up liking it. It was like a unique character.
I liked that. I just didn't like that. Like whenever action happened in the main story, it was always very flat.
It's stilted. Yeah. It's very. Again, this is a Black Mask book. They're a relatively new independent comic book. Much like the Pride, this feels like a first attempt at making like a good comic or making a comic book, right? Like the art feels very like I'm not an artist, right? So I promise this isn't me bashing him, but it feels like kind of amateurish. You know, it's like the beginnings of your career. Like this is like I know Vita's been writing for a couple years, but this is like one of her like first big books that she did. I thought it was mostly fine. Like none of the dialogue really caught me like her X-Men stuff does. Like I think she's a really good writer. I don't know her pronouns. I think I know she's queer. I think their writing is mostly good. But for this book, it was just kind of generic in a way.
Yeah,
I didn't have a sense of the characters except for like Mac. I thought Mac was cool.
When the characters were dying at the end, I was like, who was that?
Yeah. There's like Hank and Heather. I remember Heather.
It's a guy named Kevin.
Heather and Daisy. I thought their stuff was good.
Vita is they them.
They them. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought again, maybe just because I know The Last of Us so well. The stuff with like the cure and like it just like it felt so like tropey in a way.
Yeah. I found it to kind of be Last of Us, also kind of be like, I Am Legend in a way, because he's trying to find a cure or someone's trying to find a cure. But it to me, this is like, zombie apocalypse in a way, but the abominations are plant people, which okay, that's kind of cool. That's new and interesting. But after that, it is kind of generic. It's like, the person she's working for. Like right off the bat, I'm like, you're the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the villain right there.
So smarmy.
Yeah.
What was the one of the final backup story? Was the only thing I really liked from this.
I was mad about it when I finished the final issue, and it has the final backup story that's about Daisy and
with the
how
kid.
she couldn't save her daughter with the medicine, and I'm like, why tell me something so important about this character
very end
after the story is over?
Yeah.
I was like, this. I get the gimmick of like the setup of like Daisy's the one who's been through the hardest shit, and I'm like, that's cool and all.
Can I tell you, this exact type of plot thing is one of the reasons I have a problem with The Last of Us 2.
Sure.
The structure of like, you tell me this thing at the end of the story that could have been pretty vital to the beginning. Like, I find that also kind of like, why do that?
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a second volume.
No, there isn't. It's just this.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's interesting to tell me this at the end.
All of the backstories, I thought the art was great.
Yeah.
They are different artists, but they're all.
And
I love
just
it.
like
I'm
people
like,
talking
man.
about their stories.
And the thing is, like, I do think that part of what hurts the book for me is not only that, like, the story is kind of, I don't want to say paint by numbers, because I think that's a little too rude, not in the way I mean it, but more or less a typical expectation if you describe the plot summary to me.
Yeah,
this is about what I would put down to paper if I were to guess.
Yeah.
For that, that's hard, but then the art just doesn't do enough for me to engage me. Like, I could have gotten through with all that if the art was as vibrant as some of those back issues.
Yeah. There are times, sorry to cut you off, Brooks, but there were times when I was reading this, the art, I mean, it's good, but there are times it kind of felt a little bland.
Definitely the action, the action is very stilted. Like, it's just like people shooting guns. I'm like, it doesn't feel kinetic.
Not only that, like, sometimes it's just downright confusing.
I had to read. I forgot which page it was, but there are times I had to keep rereading the same page over. I was like, what's going on here?
There was a point where a guy gets on a motorcycle and there's a girl behind him on the motorcycle, and then he pulls up on the motorcycle a couple pages later, and there's a black dude on the back of the motorcycle now. And I don't know who that girl was or what happened.
It's like, how did you do
Man, when that happened, when he showed up, because he left after. He left before Daisy. And so I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
How'd you do that? How'd you get out there?
Yeah, I got turned around a couple times because of the art, and I totally get it. Like what Ryan was saying, like, you know, it is very Pride similar, like first comic kind of thing, and I do at least like that the art is consistent.
Yeah.
But it definitely made it harder to appreciate the nothing too exhilarating happening in the story.
Yeah.
Well, I will say what is dope about the book is that you have a ton of these kind of post-apocalyptic stories, whether it's comics or not, and rarely do they feature a queer black woman.
Yes.
So I will say, like, awesome on that front.
Yeah.
I totally am glad for that. Like the fact that they have a flat out just like, bam, there's a sex scene, and I'm like, hey, good on you.
Yeah,
good on you for like just 100% saying, yeah, she's gay as fuck.
Yeah, I didn't realize this book was mature, and then I saw some boobies, and I'm like, oh, what's up? Okay.
No, actually, one of my favorite parts of this entire series is how Heather and
it's the sex scene, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's how Heather and
You
Daisy
dirty
are.
boy.
no, get your mind out of the gutter, Brandon. It's their relationship and why Heather wants to get the hell out of Dodge, and Daisy's like, no, we need to stay and we need to help, because both of them have this like really complicated contract thing where if you get a contract, you can pay it off, but it's really hard to pay it off, and even after you pay it off, people still stay behind and do shit. So
I wish the contracts were explained better. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I wish they were explained better, but both of them arguing and trying is like, no, we need to leave, and it's the clashing ideals. I was like, no, this is some good drama here. And then she leaves and gets captured, and I really did not like the faux death.
Yes, I get that.
I would have preferred if she actually died.
Yeah, me too, but no.
I want to piggyback off that. Heather and Daisy are the best part of the book.
Yeah.
Heather and Daisy's argument is the best writing in the book.
That's
when they feel the most real. That is when they feel the most like people, is them arguing through the moments of what they're both wanting, and then having to apologize to each other when they both cross the line, and they do it in different ways, and it doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel like bullshit. It feels like, oh no, I get it. Like, this sounds like a real argument. This sounds like a conversation.
It does.
That was the standout best part, and I wish more character beats like that existed. I wish there were less characters in this book.
I agree.
So I wouldn't have so much trouble trying to keep track.
Because
we were more
there's like
on
Teddy,
a group.
Like Teddy dies, but like I have no idea who that character is.
Because you don't meet him until he drives back in the car, and then you hear about him in hindsight.
Yeah, I agree. There's too many characters.
The male gay couple, are they still alive, or
they're alive?
Yeah, they're alive at the end. One of them lost on.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna be pissed if
I had a hard time following because how many characters there were.
Yeah, for sure. I totally understand. I wish it had narrowed its focus down. I wish Eli had either had more of a role to play or not been there at all.
He feels like the Newt character from Aliens, but like just like nothing to do.
He's useful. He's important for one thing, but what infuriated me is oh no, it didn't. Never mind. He's useful for one thing, which is that he tells Daisy Smith made this plan, and that's how Daisy tricks him later into announcing it over the intercom thing. That is the important thing that Eli does. I just wish that there was a Roger Pinot Soto. Wow,
what?
You just what?
we're just gonna pass that one. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
I'll have to look into what the comment right there.
I have no idea what that is.
We're on something else at this point. And Eli, I just wish had more than just that one role to fill. Or if it was that one role, that it had been condensed to that one role, and he wasn't like sporadically in other places.
Yeah. This book just kind of felt to me it's like the bad seasons of Walking Dead. Just like it almost felt like it was kind of
seasons of The Walking Dead.
They're very
I'm
very.
kidding.
Good.
The first season is very good.
Yeah,
you can't protect him, Rick. Was that season 1?
Because he dies in season 1. It's the only season it could be in.
No, he dies in season 2.
No, he dies at the end of season 1.
He dies in the middle of season 2 because they're on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought like it's like it besides the idea of like the cool plant zombies, it doesn't really do enough to differentiate itself from other like post-apocalyptic worlds. Like the runner idea could have been cool, but it just like they're just smugglers. They just call them runners. Yeah, I thought this could be turned into a cooler like show or something. But we're getting a lot of a show. So
and this is their first foray into writing comics, or have they written comics?
They've been writing for a couple years. It's just like she wrote like side stories for like Batman and like Marvel stuff. But like 2018 is when she wrote like a bunch of independent stuff. Like,
also,
like her own.
I don't know if this is me to like really, really nitpicking, but I did find a few. I don't know if you guys found it as well, but there were a few times where I don't know if it's just like grammatical errors or something just wasn't typed out right.
I generally don't like to point these out because sometimes they are missed. But you're right, Ben. Like there are. This book needed a better editor.
Sure.
There were times where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because it's not the writer. Job to catch those is the editors.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I wish that when the art is ambitious with the abominations, I really like it, and I wish there was much, much more of that. I wish that this was a story that existed outside of the whole compound thing, and was just about them surviving amongst those plant people. And I'm like, I feel like that whole thing, just about Daisy and Heather, maybe a few other characters amongst all these beautiful abominations,
I will say,
would be far. Like,
you know what, Sparks?
Yeah.
The title is kind of misleading because it's called The Wilds, but it hardly takes place in the wilds.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
You're in a compound or you're in Medical Central most of the time, and you're only in the true wilds.
There's some
It's
interesting.
Jesus.
There's some interesting sequence that I really liked with in regards to the art, as Sparks was saying when the art gets more ambitious. There's moments where they're talking about like eventually they just become part of the earth, and there's like you see like plants growing out of shirts, and I got similar vibes from Annihilation there.
Yeah.
It's similar to Annihilation. It's similar to Last of Us. It's something I like a lot. As a visual imagery piece, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think there's something both beautiful and scary about it, especially when it's done well. And I think The Wilds touches that on occasion, especially in like some of its back issues, where the art gets to be a little crazier.
It's so weird how all the stuff like with the characters talking about their like past and stuff. I enjoyed that a lot. Like all
that
the
whole
little
thing
stuff
should have just been an issue zero.
Yeah, it's for real.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I wish that they had been allowed to do that. The other part where the art really stands out to me is anytime someone gets like wounded, even if it's not the abomination thing, but like someone gets shot in the face, and the way that they do like the moment of the shot hitting and the way the blood kind of spills this way, and it's just that frame. Those pieces are really, really good. I really, really like those. There's something here that really did work with the art, and I wish there was much more of that.
I keep bringing up The Last of Us because like that is the last thing I played, but there's so much of that in this, and like cures and like funguses and like nature taking over people and stuff. I did find myself really enjoying the scene between the evil doctor and like the moral choices of like, do you kill someone to save the world? Like that is straight up what The Last of Us is about, right? I like that idea, and I'm like, I don't buy the doctor. I think he's a bad guy. I think that could have been written with a little more nuance. Right. But the idea of we're trying to save the world here. Like, do you not see that? I like that aspect, but I just wish it was tackled a little better. Yeah,
because he's very much in the, even though as he's saying that, and it's like on a paper, like written on paper level, I agree with you. Yeah. But on a level of I'm exploiting that kind of power, and I'm literally relishing in the opportunity to abuse others.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, you just suck.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like, hey, I love your plan. Your execution sucks.
Yeah. There's a way to do it right, and you didn't do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Valentine from Kingsman.
Yeah. Good example.
Yeah.
So anyway, I picked this because I wanted us to read something from Vidai a little earlier ago, because I'm one of the people who really wants to read their Children of Adam, and I don't know if that'll ever happen. I'll probably pick another book by them, not next, but like down the road.
Man, I'm telling you,
because this was not the hit I wanted it to be for them. But I've seen some of their other stuff, and I know that they can write really great stuff.
They wrote a great X-Men story pre-Hawkspox that got them the job for whatever book they're writing.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not super great. I wish there was more here. I think there's kernels of really cool stuff in it. I definitely cannot get over and cannot forgive making something so integral to Daisy in the back. I was like, oh, okay, well, that was the story, I guess. And then we get to the back issue, and I'm reading Daisy's ending story, and I'm like, oh my God, what? How did I not know this until this moment?
Especially because they tease it so early on, and then we find out at the literally after the end, in a post-credit scene.
Right. It's so very crucial.
It's odd.
I felt like the book could have just been about that.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
To an extent, for sure. You know, it is what it is.
I mean, I don't hate the book, but it's kind of generic, and it's
fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just wish it could have been better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I will comment real quick. I did really look at that comment. I'm not familiar with
This is Enrico Palazzo.
Yeah. An opinion on the Rocker Pinoscotto, who support every political party from far left to far right just for personal opportunity and money. I'm not familiar with them, but that super sucks. I don't like that at all. Supporting people on all sides of the aisle all across that just to increase your own standing and gain money. No, I'm against that.
We learned about that in The Last Jedi.
Stand for the thing you believe in, or you fall for anything.
Yeah.
But to be fair, our topic wasn't necessarily that political, but yes. Ben.
Yes.
It's your book club.
It is. So
Next.
this was supposed to be my book club last time, but then we realized that we never read the first one. So we read Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 1, and now the sequel is Earth 1 or Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 2 by Grant Morrison, drawn by Yank Paquette, and I believe colored by Nathan Fair. But let me double check because I want to make sure I want to get this right.
Nathan
And
Fair.
this is the first time I'm actually.
Two
Yep,
pages.
colors by Nathan Fair. Oh wow, I'm pulling a Brandon here.
You just
Baron? Bane? No. I'm Bane.
It's fine. So Wonder Woman Earth 1, Volume 2.
2.
I'm excited to read it.
So
All right.
am I.
Outside of that, next week, who the hell knows? Fake.
Now, Ben, you want to read some X-Men comics?
Yes, I do.
He can't read all those in a week.
No, he only needs to read a portion.
I could read all the X-Force books that Ryan loaned me.
I mean, you
We'll
missed
see.
5 of them at this point.
As far as next week, we don't really know what we're going to talk about. But the week after that is DC Fandom, and the week after that is New Mutants. I mean, Bill and Ted. So we've got options.
And then the week
coming
after
up.
that is Mulan.
That's true.
Oh my god, all of the movies we reviewed are
Where'd you go?
damn
Brad-
dog.
Okay.
He hates our movies.
All right.
I think
Well,
I think that
Ben,
was an
you want
accident.
to start our wrap-up?
I'm pretty sure that was an accident. Shit.
Then do your best. Wrap it up. Go for it.
Okay, so...
What happened?
Oh, thank God.
You
They were
disappeared.
pointing at me to do the wrap-up, and I'm like, shit.
I disappeared into the void.
That is,
Internet.
Boy, when you're high, that looked real weird.
I bet.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. All right, so let's plug it. Let's plug in some stuff. We alluded to it in the beginning. We have an Umbrella Academy Season 2 Fake Nerds Watch coming up. So stay tuned for that, whenever that is. Avengers betas coming from Basement Arcade.
Yeah.
And right now on the Fake Nerd Book Club, so the third and final show on our YouTube page, we have up now the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 1. So you can find all of that on this page. Click the subscribe button below. Like this video. Like all of our videos. I don't care.
Hit the bell so you know when we're doing stuff like this.
We have a lot of cool stuff. We also have a Patreon and a TeePublic. If you'd like to support us financially during this time, you can do it there. Both those links are in the description below. Patreon, thank you, Zoe. Seems hard to say hi. I'm so sorry. Zoe's on. For supporting our $5 tier. And I'm wearing a TeePublic shirt right now. The Fake Nerd 8-bit shirt signed by Paigeron. You can get this and many more.
That's a good shirt.
Yeah, link in the description below. We've sold now more than 50% of our stock of Fake Nerd Podcast masks.
Sweet.
Be a hero, wear a mask. Let's stop going to the drive-thru and go to a real movie theater, maybe. Wear a mask. We want boys season 2? Season 3? Wear a
season
mask.
And look at this beauty that I wore when I went to Freckett Sons.
So you can get yours.
That means you should wash it now.
I'm
Yeah.
going to, yes.
You can get yours in the link in the description below. They're going fast. I'm really happy with how they're selling. I really like them. Sparks, I know you just ordered one.
I did. That's true.
Right.
I can also happily say that the person who ordered the Don't Be a Dick shirt, which is drawn by a good friend, Jen the Key Thief, received their shirt and absolutely love it. And I'm waiting to get a picture because they said they sent me a picture of them wearing it.
Nice.
It's his dad. Okay. You can find all of this on our website at www.fakenerdpodcast.com. Everything is there. Check it out. It's a cool site. I got to take down the Funko thing, though, because we are no longer a Funko affiliate.
Rip.
They did not respond to my inquiry.
That's not Funko.
It's okay. I still want that Scrooge Batman. Thank you to everyone who listens, and thank you to everyone who's been watching, commenting on the sidebar there. That way, I think. You guys are great. We love your support. We love that for some reason Mag keeps coming on to watch us do this late at night.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Mac.
It's been really great.
I don't know if K. Titus is still here. He pops in at the very beginning of every episode. I don't know if he hangs out for the whole thing, but
I don't know. He didn't respond to your Sega news.
well,
so.
but if he's still here, and since he's from Japan, I want to say this: Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Oh, there it is.
Is that racist?
No.
Thank you. I like Sparks' look. Thank you to Jimmy Vellucci, who does our intro music. If you're listening to this back to yourself on the audio feed. He did the music that you just listened to, and hopefully new songs soon. He's very going through some stuff, so hopefully soon. He does a podcast called Suburban Proctologist, mostly by himself. You can find that on iTunes. You can find that on Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, Instagram at SubProc Podcast. There are 9 episodes out now. It's really good. Thank you to Mike. Mike, you're posting some really interesting stuff on Twitter. Just saying.
Mag.
Yeah.
Good night, Mag.
Crisis.
Yeah.
Bye,
Good night, Mag.
Night, buddy.
You can find him at Mike Matola on Instagram and Twitter. He did our 3 logos of Book Club, Fickner Podcast, and Miscellaneous.
This beauty right here. That's above my finger.
And behind us.
And behind us.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fickner Podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, FicknerGuys@gmail.com. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
You can find me on the internet at BenMagnet27, both on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find me writing for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com. My most recent article is my review of tribute games Panzer Paladin. New one should be up eventually.
Hell yeah.
Sparks?
You can find me enjoying the best week of the year, Shark Week, baby, at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty. Sharks.
Ryan?
Hey guys, I'm DJ Tony Snark all over the internet. That's me. Here I am.
I'll do it. I got that. There we go.
That does work.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. If you're watching this, subscribe, like this video. Thank you, everyone. Until next week, guys. Stay fake nerds.
If you're a person who likes Shark Week and you want to watch Tyson versus Jaws and talk to me about it, or you want to watch the Will Smith special, these things are real. You can talk to me about any Shark Week special you want. Hit me up. I love it.
Stay fake nerds.